Through the eye of a Charlton fan, it's been quite a ride at the Valley these past 3 years.
Charlton were in the Premiership!
But they didn't last long.
And Charlton are going straight back down.
Charlton Athletic are back amongst the footballing elites in the Premiership.
This time they're a lot more resolute, pushing for their best ever finish.
Brilliant! What a goal! Oh, he scored! Oh, great goal!
They don't like London, Newcastle United. November '97, their last win in the capital. Don't get too excited if you're a Geordie fan. He's here, but he's not involved, Alan Shearer. 18 games they've played. Since they won at Crystal Palace, they have lost 13 of them, would you believe? It's worse if you include the cup competitions. They've lost 16 of the last 23. This is their last opportunity this season to put that record to rights. We're at the Valley. Our live Super Sunday football from the Carling Premiership is Charlton Athletic against Newcastle United here on Sky Sports 1, and of course it's interactive for Sky digital viewers on Sky Sports Extra. That's channel 404. Coming up, more from our series of interviews with Bobby Robson this week on High Tech in Football.
Mum, sir. I mean, in my day, we played marbles, didn't we? In the street. Headers, football headers against the wall.
Enjoyed that last week. More from Bobby Robson coming up very shortly. No concerns for these two about going down this year. In fact, the winners here today go on to 40 points, which means they can start to think about Europe, surely. Big question for Charlton. How do they react to that cup defeat? 2 up against Spurs here in the middle of the week, and they lost, of course, by 4-2. Well, here's a fella who might just have the FA Cup on his mind. Harry Redknapp, welcome.
Richard, how are you?
Good to see you. Very well, thank you.
Good.
Still basking in the glory of that win up there at Old Trafford?
No, it seems a few weeks ago now, and we've got some important league games to come. One tomorrow night, Coventry.
Big one tonight.
Television, yeah, big game. Yeah.
But are you thinking perhaps about the FA Cup and the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff?
Well, it would be nice. I mean, tough game next week at Sunderland. Not the best of draws.
That wasn't quite the reward you deserved, was it?
No, it was coming so quickly on the back of just beating United within 5 minutes here in the draw. But it'll be an interesting game. I think we can go up there and get a result. They're a good side. Sunderland have done well this year. Reedy's done a great job, but we're playing okay, so it'll be interesting. What
did you make of United? Because of course we saw the league game up there, and they ripped into you, didn't they?
Yeah, different
class.
Very
different cup tie. Why?
Well, we played. I mean, they're different class. They really are superb. Their passing, their movement. They're running off the ball for each other. The work when they haven't got the ball. But we decided to play differently. We went up there, we were too open when I went up there and played in the league, and we got really punished and tightened it up a little bit. Still played with 3 attackers in Joe, Di Canio and Canuti, but played a little bit differently, and on the day it worked okay for us.
Something of a crisis there, I think. Now they're only 13 points.
It must be difficult, right? Alex is not sleeping, they tell me. He's got problems, So.
But what is the key? Did Chelsea get close yesterday?
Looking at the highlights of the game, yeah, I mean, this took the definite penalty, He's definitely caught Zola there, Stanman, and not played the ball at all. And when you look at it, it's definitely it's a penalty. Look, he's took his legs, but Chelsea with a new lad looks a real threat to me.
Yeah, they did get in front. I mean, is the key to sit as Liverpool did, absorb what they're prepared to throw at you, and then strike, or do you have to play without fear and have a go at them?
It's difficult, I think you've got to have a go, but when they're on their game, I mean, away from home, we're all saying, yeah, good, but Chelsea are at home. I mean, if you can't get a result against them, United when they're away from home, what chance have you got? And Chelsea are a big side. I mean, at the start of the year, I think a lot of us fancied Chelsea to be the closest contenders this year for the Championship, having beaten United in the Charity Shield. I think lots of people felt Chelsea were going to be the team, but they're miles behind.
Is it done and dusted, the title?
Yeah, yeah, no danger. I think it's a chase on for second place, and Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea are starting to put a run together, but I doubt if they'll get there, and Leeds as well. But I can see Arsenal or Liverpool finishing runners-up.
Arsenal perhaps the closest challengers. They've won their last 3 now.
Yeah, they're
unbeaten in 5.
Yeah, it's a close game, obviously.
are losing touch totally. Beaten yesterday, of course, at Southampton. Coventry play tomorrow, as Harry was saying, at West Ham, and there's a mountain for them to climb as well. Poor old Manchester City can't find a win from anywhere at the moment. Those three remain in the drop zone. Despite the fact that Middlesbrough, Harry, have stopped the rot, they're still hanging about down there, aren't they?
Yeah, they've been on a great run. I mean, you know, Terry's gone there with Robbo, and I think 11 games unbeaten. But I mean, they were in trouble when they went. But
are they still?
Oh, for sure. I mean, you know, you'd think they'd get out of it because they're a good side and they're playing well at the moment. But you never know. I mean, they've had 11 games. You know, if they hit a dicky spell again, I suppose about 38 points, 37 points would be safe this year. You know.
Good result for Derby yesterday at Elland Road, but they're still hanging about down there. Everton breathing a little more easily after their win. The Hammers host the Monday Night Football tomorrow. Villa still down there in 13th place. No problems for Southampton, surely on the 35 mark now. And Spurs there in 11th place. Winners away from home for the first time this season at Main Road yesterday. There's Charlton and Newcastle, 37 apiece. Winners today, if there are to be winners, go on 40. And as I said, perhaps they can start to think about Europe. Chelsea have crept back in, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, they've got closer, yeah, but they're entitled to be with the players they've got and the, you know, the money they've spent on their squad. As I say, I thought they'd certainly be in the top 4 this year, you know, and possibly pushing United all the way for a championship. But they're starting to play better now. They've just bought the Danish boy in, who's an outstanding player. You know, they could still get into that Champions League place. It's not a million miles away. You know, 7 points, anything could happen still. Makes
me smile when we talk about Leicester and Ipswich fading of late. Blimey, they've done the hard work this season.
Great season. Ipswich have done fantastic. I mean, 40 points. George Burley would have accepted 40 points at the end of the season, let alone now. I mean, they've done marvellous.
Leeds into 5th, then it's Sunderland, Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester United. That's a more familiar top 3, isn't it, with Leeds and Chelsea hanging about on the fringes now as well. The Sky Sports form guide, last 6 games, you can see why Coventry are struggling, and Bradford, and Manchester City. 1 win in 18 between them, and that's from Bradford. Leicester in the wrong half now, and Villa, and the Hammers, whose form seems to have deserted them of late, so perhaps it's a good time to play them. Ipswich, Derby, Sunderland and Middlesbrough in the bottom half. Everton are grinding out results. They're not losing matches, importantly. Then it's Newcastle, Spurs, Leeds, Southampton, Arsenal back into 5th, Chelsea, Charlton in 3rd, Liverpool, and of course top of the pile, as usual, it's Manchester United. Let's get the team sorted out. Here's Claire Tomlinson. Claire.
Well, Richard, one change for Alan Curbishley to the team that lost 4-2 in the Cup to Spurs in midweek. Mark Fish coming in for Steve Brown. But the big news for Charlton fans is that Mark Kinsella and Johansson return to the bench after injury. Bobby Robson, he makes 2 changes. Rob Lee, who missed the defeat at Chelsea midweek with a groin injury, he returns to skipper the side against his former club. And Marcelino makes just his 5th start of the season in place of the injured Alan Goma. Start with the Charlton lineup then. Sasa Ilic continues in goal for Dean Kiley, still out with a groin injury picked up against Derby at the end of January. Chris Powell starts again in preference to Kinchevsky after scoring his first goal for the club against Spurs on Wednesday. And Scott Parker starts his 8th game in 9 as deputy for Mark Kinsella. Graham Stuart scored the winner at St James's Park in September, and up front is Matt Svensson and Sean Bartlett. A confirmation there that Kinsella and Johansson make the bench, as well as John Robinson. Newcastle lineup as follows. Shay Given keeps his place in goal despite Steve Harper's recovery from an ankle injury. Wayne Quinn starts the last game of his 1-month loan deal from Sheffield United. Up front, Kieran Dyer makes his 150th league appearance despite suffering from that mysterious shin cyst problem. He's alongside 19-year-old School of Excellence product Shola Ameobi. He's got 2 goals in his last 3 Premiership appearances. Christian Bassedas drops to the bench, where Kevin Gallacher makes a welcome return after the virus. Well, Charlton are 6 unbeaten now in the Premiership since that 5-0 defeat away at West Ham. 7 today would give them a new record stretching back 48 years.
To Super Sunday at the Valley with Harry Redknapp, our guest this afternoon. When we come back, we'll start talking about this match and focusing on the Addicts, who, as Claire said, have found some good form and they're thinking about Europe all of a sudden. How about this? Next Saturday afternoon, exclusively live from Twickenham, England meet Italy. Our coverage starts at 2 o'clock. It's live only on Sky Sports 2. There's interactive coverage as well. available. That's next weekend, Six Nations Rugby, England against Italy. This afternoon we're at the Valley for Charlton and Newcastle United. It is interactive on Channel 404, that's Sky Sports Extra. And of course it's live here on Sky Sports 1. Harry Redknapp is with us. Now I posed the question at the top of the show, Harry. I wonder how Charlton will react to the cup defeat by Spurs. 2 up and coasting. Apparently 4-2 is a thumping at home.
Amazing result, you know, to go 2 up against Spurs. I think they must have thought, well, this is game over, you know, because Spurs haven't been scoring goals, and you know, it really must have come as a massive shock for him.
It's Chrissy Powell with his first goal for Charlton.
He's done a good job for him, Powell, you know. And so when this one goes in, you really couldn't see any way back for Tottenham. Tottenham have been hard to beat of late, but not scoring many goals. But George must have been delighted with the attitude they showed to come back into the game.
I think Charlton felt that if they'd sat at 2-0, they might have won it, but they went hunting for a third and opened the door, and then there's a glimmer, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. 2-1, different game on, and yeah, it'd be interesting, as you say, but they've bounced back from defeats before, Charlton, this season. They've got a great record of coming back after a defeat and winning the next game. I think they've done it 4 or 5 times. Where you know, we beat them in that game at Upton Park 5-0, and they came straight back from that, and I think they went to Man City and won 4, scored 4 goals. So they've obviously got good spirit about them, and when they do have a defeat, they normally come back and win the next match.
Is it that, do you think, that's been the biggest difference in their season? The fact that they've been able to, if they have lost, turn it round quite quickly and get points again? Yeah,
I thought it was unlucky to go down the other year. I thought it was a good side, you know, 2 years ago when they were up, and they had some good performances, had a few injuries, and I just thought they were a little bit unlucky. I thought when they come up this year, they would definitely stay up. I never saw them as a team that would come up and go down. I thought there was absolute certainty to start this season.
And you know what astounds me when you come here? Of course, most that come regularly to the Valley now just take it for granted, I suppose. But this is a club that, what, 5-6 years ago didn't have a ground of their own. You look around now, it's a fantastic job they've done.
It's amazing what they've done. I remember coming with my dad and standing on the terraces and seeing a few games here, you know, and it's amazing how they built
the old
stadium.
Terrace, the bowling, that would house 80,000
people. Yeah, I think my dad was here when there was 80,000 here one particular game, and but no, they've stuck in. They've done well. Alan Curbishley's done a great job with them. The chairman's been good with Alan as well. And I think if they stay up, which they will stay up this year, I think next year they'll go and invest again. Alan said he's hoping to have the majority of the Sky money to spend, so they'll go and strengthen the team and they'll establish themselves as a good Premier League club.
They came in and didn't spend big money. They have spent money, but not by most people's standards big money. Jensen being one that they brought in.
Yeah.
1 or 2 more like him. There's been millions, 1.5 million spent, but they haven't gone daft, have they?
No, I mean, he's bought good players. Jensen's a good player. I've been very impressed with him. He gets forward, always looks like he can score goals. He gets on the ball an awful lot. Had a good couple of years at Bolton, and he was a player that we looked at and we liked very much. But yeah, he's got the knack of scoring as well, you know.
Nothing fancy, nothing clever.
No, but he's always looking to run forward. He's a strong running midfield player, box to box, and he's got good ability. I mean,
he wanted to finish that off.
Yeah, it would have been a great goal, wouldn't it?
Does it tell you something that he is one of 2 ever presents this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's good that Alan's brought him in, and you know, the big Danish connection up at Bolton, and he was one of their better players for sure. And Alan's obviously watched him play in the first division when he was in that league, and he's decided that he could step up, and he's done it with no problem.
Are there certain types of foreigners that you can take a risk with, others that you can't?
Yeah, it's just finding the right ones. It's a problem, I think, at the moment, is like we were saying before we came on here about buying, you know, you get too many Africans, and they're jetting off playing games all around the world at the moment, which is a problem. You've got Moroccan players, you know, quite some good players in the country, but they've always seemed to have international games. I'm having the same problems with 1 or 2 of my African lads. You know, the Cameroons are playing. Song missed the cup game at Man United. He misses a game the week after next again. You know, I think it's very difficult to bring too many of them in unless they change the calendar next year and put their fixtures in with the European fixtures.
Which would help, wouldn't it?
It would help for
immensely.
Sure.
Graham Stuart is the other ever-present, again a player that we know plenty about. He's never really set the world on fire, but he's done enough, hasn't he?
He was a good young player and went to Chelsea. You know, he was. I think he went to Lillishore, the Centre of School of Excellence out there. He was an outstanding young player.
Famously went to Everton, of course. He scored the goal that kept them up in that.
Yeah, and then they took him. He was a wide player in them days. He normally played wide right. always worked very hard, but he's played central midfield most of the time here at Charlton, and he's done a great job for them.
It's a different job he has here, isn't it?
Yeah, they've got good midfield players. I like Kinsella, who's just coming back from injuries on the bench today, and with Jensen as well. I think they've got 3 outstanding midfield players. That's really a big strength for their team.
Let's hear from Graham Stuart. Here he is with Claire Tomlinson.
You got the winner up at St James's Park. Are you expecting another tough game like that today?
Very much so. There's a lot to play for today, both teams on the same points. Possible top 6 or 7 place to go for, so everything to play for.
Are you looking up this season as opposed to back at the relegation battle?
I think we should do now. We've done a lot of hard work this season. We're not entirely safe yet, we know that, but a good performance today and we can certainly be looking up.
What can you achieve this season, do you think?
Well, I think first and foremost we just want to make sure we're 100% safe. Once that's achieved, we'll assess where we are and see what we have to do to push on. And I mean, if we win today, you know, who knows what can happen.
Disappointment in midweek in the cup game, but you've got a good record this season of bouncing back after defeats.
Yeah, it's probably been the strongest point of our season. The fact that if we have had a disappointment, we've bounced back. Hopefully we'll do that again today. But obviously everybody was very down after the Tottenham game midweek. But, you know, football always gives you a chance to bounce back straight away, and we've got that today. Did you feel you rather lost the game rather than Spurs won it? I think so, yeah. I mean, we don't want to take any credit away from Spurs because, you know, they did make a good comeback, but it was pretty much self-inflicted, and we pressed the self-destruct button a little bit for 5 or 6 minutes, and it's cost us the tie.
Good pro, isn't he?
Yeah, he's done well. He's been a good signing for him, and you know, Alan's not, as you say, Alan's not bought big players. He hasn't gone out and spent mega money on any of them, but they've all come in and done their job, and they've got a good spirit here. It's a good football club. Their reserves do well. They do well with the kids. They bring a few kids through. And it's a club that I think will establish itself, as I say, as a good Premier League club in lots of years to come. Just
harping back to that cup tie again, Matt Svensson, the scorer of the second goal on the night. He started the last 6, mainly as a result of injuries, but it's an opportunity for a player like that to give himself a Premier League stage, isn't it?
Yeah, they've had injuries. Hunt would be probably his main striker, Alan's main striker. He's missed a few games now. Mendonca hasn't played all year. He's a good player, Clive Mendonca. And is it Johansson, the boy they took from Rangers, who's come in? Yes. Yeah, he's come in and scored goals. So Svensson's got his chance. With efforts like that, he's taken it very well. You know, he's been around. He's had 1 or 2. He was at Palace, and I think he was at Portsmouth as well.
So in general, you would say that they're better equipped, they're stronger, and more able this time back, Charlton. Yeah,
and I think they're confident about playing in the Premier League. I think they feel they've come back and they are good enough. I think they've looked at it before and thought we were unlucky to go down. Alan's looked at the whole thing, and I think there's a confidence about the place that they feel they should be in the Premier League and they belong there.
Quick word with Matt Svensson, who stopped a little earlier to talk with Claire Tomlinson again.
Matt, it's been a season of injuries, particularly to the strikers, and that has included yourself.
Yeah, it has been. It's been. I was out together with Pringle start of the season, and after that, it's just been another striker after another one who's been injured. But they're all coming back now, so it's going to be a lot of competition in the next couple of weeks here.
You look forward to that sort of competition?
Yeah, it's always good with competition, but you know, he always picks the best 2, and that's what he has to do.
Do you feel you've taken your chance, particularly perhaps while Johansson's been out?
Yeah, sort of. I've done okay the last couple of weeks here, and we get a few good results in. So we've been doing well. Except, you know, JJ is one of our best players, so it's good to have him back as well.
A goal for you midweek against Tottenham, but ultimately disappointment in that one. Today, a chance to bounce back. Yeah, that's right. We played well for an hour against Tottenham, and we were cruising 2-0 up. But then something happened. We can't really say what happened, but killed us off, and they scored 3 goals in 5 minutes, and we weren't professional enough. But today we have to bounce back. You know, we've been performing very well at home, and we've got a good league run at the moment. So if we can keep that up, we should be very pleased with that. 1-0 at St James's Park. Will that give you confidence going into today?
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, we played them like once this season so far and won. So it's a good thing coming in with this game, and especially the way we've been performing at home at the moment as well, and you know, in the league we haven't lost since Boxing Day in the league, so we've been doing really well, and just keep that up and just collecting points.
You expecting a tough game though from them?
It will be a tough game, yeah. They're a good side, and we're going to have a lot of difficulties with them, but we're a decent side ourselves, so we get a good chance.
Thanks, Matt.
Cheers.
Always have to be careful, of course, but do you think that haircut gets a mention around the dressing room?
It's not a typical centre-forward haircut, is it? You know, the
really
old shaven head or something coming on headers.
He must sleep on his stomach or something, I don't know. Still nobody out there. It's most unusual. Usually at this stage we do have teams warming up, but not at the moment. Winners today, remember, go on to 40 points. They'll take 6th place or better, and they must then be thinking about Europe. We'll take a break. When we come back, more in that series of interviews with Bobby Robson, which was fantastic last week. This week, it's about the press.
You know, they have a story to write, and if it's controversial, it's good for them, and sensational, it's better.
England's tour of Sri Lanka is underway. On the 22nd of February on Sky Sports 2, we have live coverage in the morning from Galle. And of course, if you missed the live match, you can catch prime-time highlights in the World Cricket Centre. That is Test cricket between Sri Lanka and England, exclusively live on the 22nd of February on Sky Sports 2. Today it's a Super Sunday at the Valley with Charlton and Newcastle United. It's interactive, of course, all the usual features today, including Fan Zone today. Gary Taylor of Charlton and Sean Kelly of Newcastle United providing our alternative commentary. That's for Sky Digital viewers on Channel 404. Well, we didn't get a game at Newcastle last week, but we did get a fascinating series of interviews with Bobby Robson. Here he is again, talking this week about the press and also technology, which is in the game today.
I see. Well, at the moment, it's you know, it's top of the technology world. And when I was an apprentice, you know, technology was never around. I mean, we were talking about the other day, you know, like we saw these kids, you know, all working on the computer. Marvellous, really, you know, how they can operate it and understand it. I mean, in my day, we played marbles, didn't we? In the street. Headers, you know, football headers against the wall. If you had a radio, you were lucky. I mean, Walkmans and all these laptops that they have now with built-in film cassettes and music cassettes. I mean, it's a completely different world.
You can stick it up the line, can't he? So we play it back, and show you wax it. And 3 seconds later, or 3 passes later, it's in the back of our net. And one of my players scored a similar goal. We just said, wow, what a player, what a great goal that is.
I got into the media business when I became England manager, because it was not only national attention, but it was international media pressure as well. I had to deal with the international media. And I had to realise that I had to give some of my time. And you're dealing with clever people, tricky vickies, who know what they're talking about, and are going to try and get out of you what maybe you don't want to give them. You know, they have a story to write, and if it's controversial, it's good for them. And sensational, it's better. So you have to be very careful. So I learned, and sometimes I got stitched up, as you say. Like one guy said to me during my England days, can England win the World Cup? I said, yes, we can win the World Cup. The next day, England will win the World Cup. And I said, well, I didn't say that. I said, we can win the World Cup. It's like me saying to you, can you eat 5 eggs every morning? You said, yes, I can eat 5 eggs every morning. It doesn't say you will eat 5 eggs every morning, does it? But you get stitched up by the media. So you've got to be careful, I tell you, and I learned that. And then I went abroad, where my experience in England obviously stood me in good stead there in Barcelona, where I'm dealing with 50 press guys per day, not per match, per day, every day. And I handled that quite well. Without England, I don't think I could have done that. And then I've come to Newcastle, back into English football, and, you know, the media attention is heavy, yeah, it's certainly around. You know, you have to give your penny's worth, I think. You have to represent your club, and I try to do a good job for the club, because I represent the North East and Newcastle, and I try and keep, you know, the bridge between the media and the club ongoing. Unless you get stitched up, and then I'm a different animal again.
Top man. Bobby Robson talking to Jeff Shreves. Well, can you eat 5 eggs for breakfast?
Never tried that one, as you know. But when he said about playing football in the streets here, I mean, I know it might sound corny, but that was certainly where the kids learned to play in them days.
And it is a different world, isn't it? He's talking about technology, the computers and the Walkmans, as he said, and the laptops with their films in it. Mobile phones, how does a modern-day football manager handle all that?
Very different. I mean, most clubs now, I think they're banning mobile phones from the dressing rooms, or certainly in the dressing rooms and from the coaches and everywhere, because
must drive you potty.
They're on them all the time. On them all the time. You know, especially you find the foreign lads are non-stop, always on the phone.
So agents or newspapers, and then you read what they've said 2 days later back here.
That's right. It comes out on their website. I was like, he slagged you off.
Rob Lee got a terrific welcome, which is nice to see. 9 years at the Valley. All corners of the ground rose when he came out, and then mockingly, so too did his teammates out there at Newcastle United. But that's good to see, isn't it? When a player that's given so much as he did gets the sort of welcome that he did.
I think it's lovely to see the fans clapping. The Charlton supporters, you know, they appreciate he was a good player when he played here. They're pleased the way his career's gone, and we should have had him at West Ham, really. Rob Lee, he should be a West Ham player.
Why didn't you then?
He's a big West Ham fan. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's years, you know, quite a few years back when he was at Charlton, and I think that he was always looking to end up playing at West Ham. He's always been a big West Ham supporter, but we never quite made it.
Never say never.
Well, I mean, to be fair, about a year ago, and I just thought, well, maybe he's still a good player. He's a terrific pro, but I just felt maybe now at that age, you know, I thought I'd go for a younger player like Stuart Pearce and Nigel Winterburn. He was a bit too young for us.
Well, a year or so ago, he wasn't enjoying his football. Nowadays, again, he is.
Under Rude Hollett, it sort of made me appreciate playing football. You know, I was out for almost a year, really. You know, been on the fringes and then eventually not been involved at all. So, you know, when I came back under Bobby, it made me appreciate what, you know, I've got a great job. I enjoy my job. I enjoy playing, and I want to play for as long as possible. You know, as long as I'm not embarrassing myself, then I'll continue to play. I'm playing a slightly different role now. As the lads will tell you, I very rarely get over the halfway line now. I sit and try and help the defence and let Kieran and Alan and Nobby get on with the scoring of the goals. So it's a slightly different role, because I think Kieran came in the other day. He saw an old game when we played Leicester, which Sky showed, and he said he couldn't believe how many times I was in the box and how many shots I had. And I said to him, in the old days I used to get forward and score it. So surprised him, I think.
Is the club heading in the right direction, do you think?
I think so, slowly. I think probably under Kevin Caig we headed in the right direction at a rate of knots, really, and probably going a bit too quick for us. I think we've probably suffered a bit. You know, we had a great team, but behind the team we had very little, really. We didn't have a lot of kids coming through, which now, thanks to the academy and that we've got some good kids coming through now. The future's looking very bright. When we first got in the Premier League, we was involved in title fights, and all of a sudden we went from that to relegation fights. So we had to make sure we wasn't involved in any of that. And now it looks pretty clear that we're not going to be involved in that. We've got to push for Europe, because certainly of the teams we've played, we've got nothing to fear. I mean, we always seem to play better against the bigger teams, the Leeds, the Man Uniteds, the Chelseas, and we struggle normally against the so-called lower teams. So we've got to start putting that right. And if we can pick up results away from home, I mean, at home we'll a match for anybody, but if we can pick up results away from home, then we've got a very good chance of getting in there.
How's he done it, Harry? Bobby Robson, little or no money, bottom when he took over, now threatening a place in Europe, with still no money.
Well, how they were at bottom, nearly bottom, when he took over, to be fair, would be, you know, when they'd spent the amount of money they'd spent, they were entitled to be in the top six, not the bottom six. So they'd badly underachieved before Bobby went there. But he lifted everybody. He's a fantastic manager, got great enthusiasm for the game. Someone like Rob Lee, you see him there, is a fantastic, great pro. Never getting in, not even in the team picture at the start of the year, and you do wonder, well, you know, it can't be right. He doesn't look the type of lad you'd want to treat badly. And I think while he was out the picture, the other lads all looked at him, a lot of his friends at the club, and couldn't understand why he was getting treated so bad. And obviously the spirit of the club wasn't good. And I think Bobby's changed that. That's the first thing
he's had a little pop today, Bobby Robson, and Kevin Keegan said that had they had a reserve team under Keegan, the likes of Michael Carrick wouldn't have slipped away from the region. Is that right?
No, I wouldn't. Well, I don't know about the reserves, but I mean, certainly Michael was a young lad from Newcastle. I don't think he was a schoolboy star. We had him at a very early age, and Newcastle had every chance to get him. He wouldn't have not gone there because they didn't have a reserve team. They had a youth team, but But I don't think he was a kid that they looked at and felt they really wanted there. And he's developed. He's come to us and he's developed into an outstanding player. But they missed the opportunity. But that happens in football. You know, we get lads from West Ham area. They end up playing for other clubs. That's the way it is now. David Beckham's an East End boy, you know. And he was at Man United from the age of 12. So you're not going to get all the players in your area.
Bottom, of course, when Ilic left them, but one legacy he did leave, Kieran Dyer. Now, is that a player that you like the look of?
Very much, yeah. He's a player, again, I tried to buy him when he was at Ipswich. We were very, very close to getting him. You know, I think we were probably, in the end, I think we might have been £500,000 short. But I would love to have had him at the club because he's, I thought with Lampard, with Rio Ferdinand, Cole, Carrick, he was another young kid.
How many do you want?
Well, I thought suddenly we could have had 5 there that could be future England players, which would have been lovely for us. And he is an outstanding talent. Got great pace. He looked a great right wing back to me, but now he's playing in, you know, either behind the front two, or off the front man, or in midfield and breaking forward. But his pace carries him away from defenders. Look at his pace here. You know, Molyneux's not a slouch, you know, and he's run away from him and took the goal great.
You talk about the positions he has played. Where do you think he is better then? He's playing more up top, I think, today.
Well, I think for England he could play any. I think you could play him as a right wing back. I think he'd be magnificent there. If England played with 3 centre halves, he'd run that right hand side for you and get up and down. He did it at Wembley a year or so ago for England. I think he'd be probably as good a wing back as it would be anywhere around, you know. But he can also, as I say, can break from midfield. But if, you know, in an ideal world, I think he could be one of the great right wing backs. I think that's a perfect position for him.
But a lot of players don't like that position, though, do they?
No, it's hard work.
Most of those they tend to be the ones that are good at it as well.
Yeah, but he would be good at it. There's no doubt about it. He's excellent in midfield. As I say, he can break forward from midfield. If he was looking to establish himself as a regular in the England side, and England decided to play with 3 centre halves, which may be a system that I'm not sure whether he will, he would be perfect for that system.
8 games without Shearer, 6 in a row, 3 wins during that time. Have they missed him, or has Shola Ameobi done a man's job in Shearer's absence?
Well, you can't replace Shearer. I mean, Shearer's always going to score the goals, and he's so vital to them. They lost Cole Court as well with an injury, so they've been short up front. They've had the injuries. Gallagher's been out as well. But this kid's come in, and obviously, you know, he sounds like a good Geordie boy, doesn't he? He's come in and done the job for them.
He saved them a few pounds because they've been consistently looking for a striker, but appear now to have settled with him.
Yeah, he's big and strong and he's awkward, and he looks like he can do the unexpected. And him and the other lad from Colchester, LuaLua, is it up front? They look like a good win double. Very difficult for the commentators, I would imagine, but they certainly got some ability.
He knows where the goal is.
Yeah, good finish. Yeah, he's big and strong, and he looks a bit like a Wimbledon type player, you know, the type of kid that they produce. They produce some outstanding young players at the front people at Wimbledon. He looks like the type of lad that you normally see come through Wimbledon's youth team. Big and strong with good ability.
So what do we get today, do you think, then?
I think it'll be a tight game, which I really do. I think this will be a very, very tight match, and I think they'll miss Goma a little bit at the back. Marcelino's coming in for Newcastle. He hasn't been a great success. I saw him play for Mallorca 2 years ago against Chelsea in the UEFA Cup. He looked like being a good player, but he's come to England. It hasn't gone so great for him. I think they look a little bit dodgy at the back to me, Newcastle. You know, it doesn't look like they don't look as strong as they could be, but I think it'll be a draw today.
Charlton?
Yeah, I'd say Charlton have done well. You know, they've done excellent. I think they'll come bouncing back from that defeat the other day. They've got terrific character. Whether they can win, they've come back and won games when they've lost recently. But I just think Newcastle might just go away from the capital for a change with a point today.
Yeah, what is it about that?
I don't know.
Too far south for them, or is
no, not really. Different players. They came to us and played well. For the first 20 minutes, Rob Lee played as a sweeper at Upton Park this year, and he was superb for the first 20 minutes. He ran the game. He got on the ball. They played from the back, passed it through midfield. But we ended up doing them 1-0 in the end. But no, it's just one of those things. I think, you know, away from home, they need a result.
What about Alan Curbishley, who's in charge for his 500th game here today? What sort of job over that period of time has he done for Charlton?
Done a great job. Alan's done marvellous here. He's an enthusiastic lad, and you know, he knows the area. He's an East End boy, really. He's from East London rather than South London, but he's moved over here, and yeah, he's produced, as I say, they produced some kids through their youth policy. He's bought well in the transfer market. They went down, he saw what was needed to stay up next time up. He brought them up again, and as I say, they've established themselves now, I think, this season. And I don't see them having a problem for the next few years. I think they'll be a good Premier League club.
First game, ironically, I think, was against Newcastle United when he and Steve Gritt were in charge, and we shouldn't, I think most Charlton fans would happily remember the job that Steve did as well.
Yeah, Gritt's a good lad.
It was a difficult period of time, wasn't it, when they took over?
Well, it must be difficult when there's 2 years, you know, and the players must look and wonder who's, you know, you all got your own opinions in the game. For two people to share it is very, very hard. It can work for a while, but eventually, you know, it's not where you're not going to agree on everything, and someone's got to make the final decision. I think the lads at Millwall had the same problem last year, and they had two lads in charge. So, but no, Alan's on his own now. He's done marvellous.
Let's hear then from Alan Curbishley, who's talking with Claire Tomlinson.
Alan, a milestone game for you today. Did you think back in 1991 you'd still be going strong 10 years later?
Well, you know, I think it's nice to see Robert Lee here as well, because obviously he was a major part of it when I first took over. I think the first game was against Newcastle at Upton Park. It was our biggest gate of the season, I can remember, about 6,000. And our times have changed, but in all fairness now, I couldn't imagine that you know, it would have lasted at least 10 years.
Cup disappointment in midweek. Has it been difficult to lift the players for this one?
Well, I think we've not had a problem with that, because I think that we played well in midweek. There was a 5-minute spell which I don't think I'll ever see again. You know, 3 goals in 5 minutes was incredible. You know, an own goal, a free kick we should have saved, and then 2 crazy deflections which put Johansson through. And within 5 minutes, we was rocked on our heels and stunned really. And we've had a good chat about it. We approached it wrong, we got to 2-0 and approached it wrong, and we paid for it. So hopefully we've learnt a lesson.
A good run in the Premiership at the moment. They were unbeaten in the last 6. Hoping to keep that going today?
Hope so. I mean, I know that Newcastle, I've seen them a couple of times. On their day they can cause many problems, and we know we've got a game on our hands. But it's a decent prize for both clubs today. I mean, after the results yesterday, we know we both can move up the league if we get a result today, and I'm hoping that obviously it's going to be us.
Mark Kinsella and Johansson both back in the squad. What sort of a boost has that given you?
Well, I hope it's a favourable one. You know, I think both of them have been out for 5 weeks, and because of the weather, we've not had enough training and matches to get them match fit. But you know, I took the decision that perhaps it'd be more beneficial to us if they come on. It would be a boost to us than perhaps if they went off. You know, if they started the game, then perhaps they'd tire. So I'm hoping that they can get some football today. But, you know, I've also, I think, shown a little bit of faith in the players that have got us. I like to think we're in the middle of a run. And, you know, we have gone well for 6 games. So let's hope it can continue.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
Just a few moments ago, to mark the 500 games, Alan Curbishley, in front of his adoring fans here at the Valley, picked up a trophy from Bobby Robson. That's a nice touch. What a job he's done here. And all those associated with Alan Curbishley during that period of time as well. Now, do you remember the last one that they were talking about? We were here. What a finish we got after it looked as though Newcastle United were out for a stroll.
There's another lovely knock from Shearer. He's looking very sharp. That could be ominous for Charlton. Kept by. Has a go for goal. And Newcastle United lead. Tugged back by Bassedas on Hunt. Peter Jones has got the card out. Ketspire, is he going to get another one? And it's tucked away by Solano. 2-0 to Newcastle. And in goes Bright!
Better even.
And that was late by Bassedas. Now Nikos Bassedas, having been sent off at Arsenal earlier this season, goes for a second portion here, and Newcastle are down to 10 men, 13 minutes to go. And Bright! Is it over the line? Oh!
Yeah, that's close. I tell you, Mark Bright is sure it's over. All the Charlton team are sure it's over. The only one sure it wasn't is the one who mattered most, the linesman on the far side. That is in.
One for Mark Bright. Should have been two. Pringle. Oh, it's Pringle! It's 2-2! Justice is done at the Valley! And Martin Pringle, on his home debut, deep into stoppage time, has spared Charlton the ignominy of a 9th successive Premiership defeat.
Steady, Martin. Charlton have won 7, lost 1 of the last 12 against Newcastle United. Newcastle's only win in that sequence, November 92 here. They won it 3-1, an old First Division fixture. Peacock got a couple, Howie scored as well. Newcastle United came up that year, and the rest, I suppose they say, is history. Join our match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Of course, Richard, that was one of these 23 games that Newcastle haven't won in the capital. 2-0 up going into the closing stages.
I'll be happy, Keezy, if he gets as excited as that today again. It'll mean we've got a pretty good game in our hands. Yeah, it was fantastic. But slightly different circumstances, eh, Matt, for Charlton? That day they were scratching and fighting for every point, trying to stay up. This year, not so important for them. I think they're up.
Well, they've had a fantastic season. Big decision for Alan Curbishley, properly honoured by the club just now, about the team. And it's the extra day's recovery because of this Sunday fixture that persuaded the manager to stick with the same 11 who did get into a winning position against Spurs in the FA Cup before blowing it. Sasha Ilic continues in goal with Dean Kiley still unfit, with Mark Fish able to operate at right back as well as centre back. There is the flexibility of operating with a back 4 rather than the 3 that were used on Wednesday. The captain, Mark Kinsella, and the top scorer, Johansson, are both well on the mend after knee surgery and both on the bench today.
Well, as Martin's just said, it could be a back 4, it could be a back 3. We've got Fish at right back, comfortable enough playing anywhere along that back 4. And it'll be interesting to see what Alan Curbishley does. He'll have a look at Newcastle, I'm sure, assess it from there and make any adjustments that might be needed. In midfield, well, I like Klaus Jensen. I think he is a fantastic player. I liked him last year at Bolton. I think he's done ever so well coming into the Premiership. And along that 4 in Kishishev, Parker, Jensen and Stuart, they've got all forward-thinking players who like to get forward and like to join in the attack. It'll be important to see how they cope today. Up front without Johansson, well, they've had to cope with that. He's back, he's on the bench. But Bartlett and Svensson, if they need any little nudge to say, listen lads, we need a few more goals, Johansson on the bench is that little nudge.
Newcastle not risking Alain Goma, who has a protective plaster cast on a broken hand, but the injury-prone Marcelino is fit to step into the breach. Rob Lee does return to the midfield on very familiar ground. Christian Bassedas is the man left out. And though he had hoped for more, it's just a watching brief for Alan Shearer today, but Kevin Gallacher does get a seat amongst the substitutes after recovering from illness.
Again, it's another situation. Will it be a 3 or a 4? It looks like Warren, Barton and Quinn will operate as full backs with Marcelino and Hughes. 17 games, I think it is, without a clean sheet in the league. They'll be looking for that today. It must change at some time. In midfield, I just like the look of these 3 here. Acuna, Lee and Speed. When you think the Speed's 5 goals, Solano and Dyer 5 goals apiece, league goals that is, that's a fantastic little progress for them without Shearer. Up ahead of those 3, here's a 2. You want, if you've got Solano and Dyer on your side, you want to restrict defensive duties as little as possible. So it will be down to the 3 behind them to cope. But if you give Solano and particularly Dyer the ball and space to run into, then they can be a threat. Ameobi, I think, has done a wonderful job in the absence of Shearer. A young lad learning his trade. Any goals that he gets, I'm sure, are a bonus for Bobby Robson.
Charlton looking for a double over the Magpies today. It was Graham Stewart's goal that gave them 3 points at St James's Park in September. And with plenty of backing from the Toon Army, It's a full house at the Valley. Capacity these days around 20,000, but plans in the pipeline to extend for another 6,000 behind the right-hand goal. That stand we're looking at there. And that's another indication that all is well at Charlton Athletic at the moment. So different from those days, of course, when they had to vacate the Valley, when Rob Lee was a player here and had to borrow grounds around the capital. But they're back in their rightful place. They will feel they're back in their rightful position in the top league. And such are the rewards for playing in the Premiership that staying in it now is a prize in its own right. That's both a strength and a weakness of the competition, I guess. 40 points is the accepted survival target, and that's what winners today will reach with still almost a third of the season left. Newcastle certainly ahead of last season when Bobby Robson pulled them clear of relegation. Staying up would be a real feather in Charlton's cap, because their previous tilt at the Premiership ended in immediate demotion a couple of years ago. So 3 points today means a place in this season's 40 club. That's the value of victory at the Valley, plus a move into the top 7 in the land. It's Charlton against Newcastle. It's live after the break.
It's time then for Charlton against Newcastle United, a Sky Sports production available in widescreen, Dolby surround sound, and it's interactive for Sky Digital viewers. Stats, highlights, full screen camera angles available there. Player Cam and Fan Zone, that's on channel 404. Let's join our match commentators Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Kate Hoey, the Minister of Sport, rather masking there. I think that's Sven-Göran Eriksson. His view is a bit obstructed at the moment. Svensson, Matt Svensson, is in the Charlton lineup and the subject of our Player Cam for Sky Digital viewers, channel 404. Well, Charlton have had a heavy workload, real heartache as well as leg ache on Wednesday, but they have pulled out all the stops to get this game on. Extra covering needed with the southeast again hit by heavy rain over the past few days, but not today. Newcastle United have played only once in the last 3 weeks. They're heading off to La Manga for some sunshine straight after the game. So they should have freshness on their side. Presiding over proceedings, Paul Durkin. And the pitch really is a credit to Colin Powell, the old Charlton player who's head groundsman here.
Yeah, it'll probably cut up a little bit, Martin, but it's a perfect pitch for what we'd call a typical Premiership football match.
Forward by Richard Rufus. Svensson on the chase.
Looks like both have set out with back force, as we thought they might. Have a little look at each other before either manager decides whether they'll change anything.
It's Kishishev running into trouble. So Fish is at right back to start with. Chase for Kieran Dyer.
He's almost started off as a front man, Kieran Dyer, Martin, playing up alongside Ameobi. Solano just tucked in the right hand side. That does mean that Gary Speed, the furthest left of our three central midfield players, really has got an awful lot of work to do.
Barton's header. Newcastle will still feel they have an outside chance of qualifying for Europe as they enter a run of games against clubs below them in the league. Home games coming up against Manchester City and Middlesbrough, away matches at Everton and Bradford in the near future as well. And I guess if you can say that about one team on 37 points, you can say it about the other as well.
Absolutely. I think that's fair. And when you look at the imminent return of Alan Shearer as well, Martin, you can understand why Newcastle feel that is within their grasp of top 6 place.
Meanwhile, Shola Ameobi continues, but has a painful fall here, which has Paul Durkin looking across with great concern, and many holding their breath for Ameobi, but he's quickly back on his feet.
Probably just as well that hoarding collapsed as easily as it did.
Kishishev. Scott Parker. The suing player for Charlton is Sean Bartlett, the South African.
I never think that's a bad ball. The opening 5 or 10 minutes of a match, Martin, anything hoisted over either full-back, making a centre-back come out to deal with it, gives you a throw-in level, or as near as damn it with the 18-yard line, allows you to put a bit of pressure on.
Cleared by Lee. Todd assessing the options. It was just rolled off the studs back to the goalkeeper in the end.
Rather casual for me. Andy Todd was there.
Came out off for Stuart. November '97, the last time Newcastle won an away match in the capital, including 3 visits to neutral soil, I suppose, at Wembley.
That's staggering, isn't it?
As we said before the teams came out, they had a wonderful chance of winning here a couple of seasons ago. They were almost in cruise control, 2-0 to the good. Solano, one of their scorers that day, trying to close down Stuart here, but good play by Charlton. Parker, who was very instrumental in that late equaliser that day 2 years ago, scored by Martin Pringle, is one of the absent Charlton strikers these days with injury. Dyer trying to dart in behind Fish. That was a significant interception there from Mark Fish.
When he's playing that high up the pitch, Dyer, it's no surprise to see Newcastle players just at times just helping it over the top.
Svensson working back to get the better of Wayne Quinn, who was in the last match of his current loan spell from Sheffield United. Suggestions that there might be a more permanent deal in the offing. Jensen, he's a very graceful midfield player. Kishishev, really looking for some space in there that he thought Svensson could fill.
Just didn't look to take Hughes on at all there, but just looked to play it in. That's the position Rob Lee talked about pre-match, just sitting in front of the 2 centre-backs, not really worried about going anywhere at all.
Todd getting in a tangle with Ameobi, who got some reward for his pursuit there.
And you can't look round and look for a free kick when you're last man.
Of course, it was Andy Todd who was outmanoeuvred by Gary Doherty at a significant stage here on Wednesday night. Todd had been booked and couldn't lunge in that incident, but it led to Tottenham's opening goal and an amazing comeback. Charlton conceding here 3 times in just over 5 minutes. Shot by Lee, takes the Charlton touch, and Paul Durkin points for the corner. Marcelino up, speed going towards the near post where Hughes had already run in. Quinn. Solano had taken the corner. Lee, plenty ahead of him in black and white stripes. It's another corner.
Lovely ball from Lee. Flighted beautifully to change the angle of attack really well. From left to right, Newcastle. Well, the first corner wasn't delivered that well. Didn't clear the edge of the 6-yard box near post. A funny feeling this one might be better.
Well, it had Ilic backpedaling a little nervously. No one coming round the back for Alberto Solano.
One too short, one too long.
It's only Sasha Ilic's second Premiership game of the season, his first at home. He has played 2 senior games on this ground in cup ties, but he's been beaten 7 times by Stoke City and Spurs. Well, he played very well in the first half here on Wednesday. But the flick from Jensen, typical of his work. Parker do like to pass the ball through midfield. Charlton. Kishishev, who looks longer for Bartlett, trying to barrel his way past Hughes, and he's earned Charlton the corner.
Well, he's been a willing early runner, Sean Bartlett, always looking to get over the top and behind.
Bartlett got 2 goals here against Manchester United and 1 more recently against West Ham. Oh, Rufus was free and he's put it wide.
Well, at this level, that's a chance, and a good one at that. And Richard Rufus knows it. It was a very direct and powerful run that took him on the angle. But this is a poor header at the end of it, unchallenged. Maybe he has to go back slightly. Should be testing the goalkeeper.
He'd like to get one in the right end after that own goal on Wednesday. Fish. Kishishev, the Bulgarian, who's had to get a crash course in the demands of the English game. Touched on by speed, collected neatly by Parker. Kishishev again. Rather dwelling. Speed did well to force it on to Ameobi with some slick footwork there, a bit too tight against the touchline, but again an indication of the raw promise of this teenager who was born in Africa but very much brought up on Tyneside. It's a free kick in Ameobi's favour against Parker. Know what to expect from Newcastle United. An inconsistent season, I suppose you could say. They've been consistent in the capital and in terms of getting the wrong results for Bobby Robson, of course other managers before him.
I think even during games Bobby's had that contrast, Martin, against Chelsea recently. A very good opening, 40 minutes of the match, and then a very poor last 50.
Ameobi. They've had a mixed bag of away results, of course, losing out the home fixture against Southampton a week ago, a victim of the weather. Newcastle went out of the FA Cup at Villa. They were outmanoeuvred in the end at Stamford Bridge in the match Andy was referring to, but in between they were out in front at Ellen Road. They completed a double over Leeds United, winning 3-1 at Ellen Road. Barton's ball in, the flag's up.
Well, it could only be Acuna. Certainly Speed arriving late is not. He's arguing the point, Gary Speed, but I think we'll find that Clarence Acuna, who's the one deemed to be offside, he's just sneaked in ahead there. You watch Speed arrive late, and Gary Speed thinks the flag's gone up against him. It hasn't. It's gone up against Acuna, who's already in there, waiting for the cross.
Leap by Bartlett. Stuart trying to make something of it against Barton.
I have to say, he dealt well with it. That was really fizzed back to Shea Given. When it was on its way, I'm thinking, is he confident to take 2 touches? Or is this going to be hacked away in 1?
Given got his place back. He lost out to Steve Harper. He then was injured in training. It was just before that away win at Leeds, in which Given was outstanding. Well, Fish and Rufus in danger of confusing each other.
Well, Fish should have been just talking to Rufus, telling him exactly what was going on. Rufus had no idea what was behind him. Fish was looking at it all.
Parker coming out to challenge Lee. Good click from Bartlett, but he's limped away from that challenge. Powell. Here's Barton. Speed, just angling it onto Dyer cutely. Quinn. He's got a good left foot and uses it to pick out Ameobi. Charlton will be concerned with the ease that Ameobi had him just guiding a header into a threatening area there. Nice football from Newcastle. But a poor clearance from Marcelino. Svensson looking for Bartlett. It was a good idea, but he's overhit the pass.
Well, he looked to play it very early. I think that was the right time to do it. Just overhit it. Poor defending from Marcelino. It was a very poor clearing header.
A bit of annoyance by Dyer. In fact, the flag had gone up. He would have been given offside, but Paul Durkin spotted an earlier infringement. Dyer wanted the ball hit down the line quickly instead of going into midfield first. But anyway, Newcastle have got a free kick. Harry Speed, so often a main threat to the opposition here. And he needs the ball to be clipped up a bit higher than that.
Well, absolutely. When 4 players spin round the back as well, Martin. They had 4 black and white shirts. Had spun round the back. Spot for choice if it had gone deep here. You watch bottom of the picture. Look at the 4 black and white shirts there, all waiting and a cross coming deep.
I don't think we had 4 decoys, did we?
No, I don't think so.
It was a bad free kick.
Which is unusual for Solano, isn't it? Normally we talk about that boy's quality, game in, game out.
It's not a clumsy climb by Barton. Free kick for Charlton. Interesting that Alan Curbishley has gone with an unchanged team and must have been tempted just to freshen things up after what Charlton believed was losing the game as much as Tottenham winning it on Wednesday. Todd looking for Rufus. Svensson trying to get a foot, maybe thinking that Quinn and Given could confuse each other. Given got somebody's boot around a hand.
I have to say I was a little surprised that no changes, Martin. I know Alan Curbishley's talked about starting with Johansson or Kinsella in particular and having to take them off, but those are 2 very influential players, you feel, at Charlton. You know all about Mark Kinsella, and you look at Johansson's goal record this season. I thought he might start with at least one of them.
Dyer. Some progressive play from Lee. Svensson smuggled it forward. Well, Paul Durkin happy to give Charlton the advantage then. Jensen supporting Stuart. Bartlett in the centre. Kishishev coming in from the other side. Powell deep. Closer order to Jensen, who's gone back to Parker. Bartlett. Other players in red forward. Kishishev's cross. The head of Marcelino. Powell, who his first Charlton goal here on Wednesday night. Svensson!
My money's on a goal there. Chris Powell can't do any more than that. If you're playing wide and you get a ball like this in, then he's every right to expect the goalkeeper to be tested. On the run, he wins the header. That's not a difficult header from 7 yards. He's up early, he's towering. There's no real pressure, really. It's close, but not close enough.
Matt Svensson, who scored in the last 2 games at the Valley, and in a real position there to make it 3 in a row. Meanwhile, Shea Given mentioned that little knock on the hand that he got in Charlton's previous attack. Is it going to be chop and change for these two look-alike goalkeepers? Steve Harper is back on the bench today. He wouldn't have been on the bench last Sunday because of that lingering ankle problem. Our player cam switches to Shola Ameobi for Sky Digital viewers on channel 404. Harper limbering up. Warren Barton's come back to have a look at the situation. Derek Wright is the medical man.
And there's a little knock on, you can see that they're dealing with a little finger of the right hand. Just puts his boot up, just catch it, see him pull it away. Something as daft as that, they can just dislocate that.
Might be an old injury, that's
might be
a weakness, possibly.
I mean, I think the simple thing is, the trouble with it as well with wearing of gloves, Martin, it's not as if you can tape a couple of these fingers together and then say, you know, on you go.
And there's certainly some taping going on. I think the problem with the crowd, just a little mystified. They might have not remembered or even spotted what had happened earlier. Bobby Robson, as always, good value. I was talking to him before the game. He knew he was going to make that presentation to Alan Curbishley, and he was going, how many games did I have as manager? Is it Ipswich? So to the statisticians, particularly in the East Anglia area, if you want to help Bobby, have a look back through the record books and let him know.
I think lots, I would suggest.
Yes. He said there was 66 in one season. But here's Solano. There's no one able to catch up the play there, coming from the opposite side. Got Dyer in close support.
Thought he might have controlled this, Alberto Solano, and you know what he's trying to do. It's a lovely ball angled deep over the top. Because Kieran Dyer makes the run wide as well, and Ameobi's caught way off the pace. It's really a ball into nowhere.
Kieran Dyer, certainly a target for Sven-Göran Eriksson here today. Such a dynamic player. And playing in a role they've been likening to that occupied by Peter Beardsley in the past at Newcastle. Kishishev can come inside onto his left foot here. Never really threatening the goal.
Scuffed at a touch, but it was good inside the play. Two passes in the through. Lovely ball from Graham Stuart. As soon as Quinn turned his back, he was really struggling then. Rather than dragged it with the left foot, Kishishev. But they've been the brighter opening 20 minutes, you have to say. Charlton, they've looked a team most likely to break the deadlock. Two good attempts with headers, or two good chances, I should say, with headers.
Just in London, of course, that Newcastle have a jinx. They've gone out of both domestic cups this season in Birmingham City and Aston Villa, with a success apiece against the Magpies. And for the clubs that have gone out of the FA Cup, including Charlton and Newcastle, it's a strange time of the year. There are no fixtures arranged now on the 5th round days and 6th round days, so Charlton have got a couple of weeks off after this. So when you hear talk about too many games being played, I think that only applies to a small number of the top clubs. I think that's the reason, Andy, you question Alan Curbishley's team selection. He feels if they can get through this game not needing Kinsella and Johansson, they will come back really ready for the fray. Scott Parker, incidentally, is suspended from Charlton's next game, so that lets Kinsella back in. But he is a substitute today. Alongside John Robinson there. Team Kylie not quite as close to a comeback. Ilic needed, and that kick allowing Newcastle possession with a throw well forward, but it's not their throw now. Kiley was injured, both giving away and then saving a penalty. Double stress on a groin. It's against Derby here. That's Alan Curbishley's 200th win as Charlton's manager. First was against Newcastle when he was in tandem with Steve Britt back in the early 90s. Speed. Barton.
They've been a touch wasteful, Newcastle, if anything, trying to build up play in the last third. Haven't really put too much together at all. But I think if you're a team that's gone, is it 17, I think, Martin League games with no clean sheets, then I think you can be forgiven for maybe setting out your stall away from home, particularly in a city where you've got such a wretched record over the last 3 or 4 years, and maybe setting out your stall not to give anything away early and be content. If you're going to win it, then why not just win it in the last couple of minutes? Very much like Spurs did away at Main Road.
Quinn. On from Speed to Lee. So Kishishev's tackle on Gary Speed. Stuart, who likes to tuck in from the left. He's certainly not a wide left midfield player, and a 4 for Charlton there. With Kishishev, who's perhaps more of a defender than the player he would call a right winger. So they'll look for some sturdiness in that department. Alan Curbishley and Keith Peacock and Mervyn Day. Jensen. Over Stuart. Bartlett touched onto the post by Given. Bartlett came in behind Svensson with a really solid header.
Free kick's been given, but 2 poor headers earlier, Martin, but this is a stunning header and a fantastic save from Shea Given. It's not really a chance. He's had to go back to fetch this from low down. Look, he's backing away from goal, and it takes a combination of the fingertips of Given and the frame of the goal to keep Charlton out. But what a header.
Here's Solano. Dyer. Comes back for Kieran Dyer, and he's made a bit of a mess of the shot, in truth.
Well, that's one of those that drops ever so quickly to you. You've only got an instant to swing the leg at it. If it's your day, you hit it sweetly on the half volley and it whizzes past the goalkeeper. If it's not, you do that to it.
Newcastle have got the running of Dyer, the incisiveness of his movement. For Charlton, it seems crosses are the weapon so far. Acuna. A challenging ball from Rob Lee, certainly for Mark Fisher's positioning, and it's off Fisher's head behind for another Newcastle corner.
Well, as I've said, he's had 2 poor deliveries from this side. Roberto Solano. Make that 3.
Bobby Robson will be assessing the poorness of Newcastle set pieces. What we will be able to tell him after the game is that he was manager of Ipswich for 578 games. Thanks to our statisticians who've responded quickly to that earlier request. Fish came here from Bolton in November. Lee. Todd's header, and it drops for Ameobi. Solano. Moving right, spotting Barton and then tried to use him. Headed down by Barton. Harper hurt in that challenge with Gary Speed. Charlton still going. Harper's on his feet. Jensen.
That's good running with the ball from Klaus Jensen. Carried that 30-40 yards. Getting the ball just outside his own box. He's earned a throw-in way deep inside Newcastle territory. But here in Dyer's part, that's for me they're being wasteful, Mark. There was an opportunity there for them to carve out a chance at the other end, and they rather made it too easy for Charlton to defend.
So far, Newcastle struggling in the air at the back. They're going to be tested by another cross hit. 2 against 1, had the opportunity to do that. Alan Hughes overturned the odds. Quinn played against Newcastle in that FA Cup semi-final for Sheffield United 3 years ago now. Svensson. Stuart's got forward. Here's flick. Barton beats Bartlett. Parker.
That was decent play again. The movement's been much better from Charlton. Graham Stuart coming from left to right to join in edge of the box.
Good touch by Acuna, laid off by Kieran Dyer. Plenty of room for Barton to try and exploit here. Solano, Acuna, but hit Fish. Didn't bounce back to Acuna, who was prostrate in any case. That was more promising for Newcastle.
Well, any decent touch from Acuna on the header might well have troubled Ilic.
But had space there because we've said about Graham Stewart straying from the left-hand side. Dyer. Now calling for the assistant to raise his flag, but the ball had gone out. But Dyer ruled to be allowed to go on. Got into 1 or 2 good positions on this side of the pitch, Newcastle, without quite maximising them. Acuna certainly got into the penalty area a moment or 2 ago.
Well, he does that. He does like to run forward, Clarence Acuna.
But speed. Dyer making it easy for Solano. Had to volley the pass forward, and it's tough to get the real precision on it. Johnston against Kilmarnock, Sky Sports 3. That's tonight at 6 from north of the border. And West Ham against Coventry is our Monday night football, with Richard and Andy hosting, and Alan and Trevor at Upton Park. Sky Sports 1 and Sky Sports Extra. Solano, pressed by Powell. Stuart's involved as well. Acuna. Leisurely gate from Ameobi. It eats up the ground. And he wondered what that was blocked by. Certainly a corner, but Ameobi claiming a handball by Parker.
Might well have done, might well have struck the arm, but I'll tell you what it was great covering the ground from Parker. Look how far away he is, Martin. When he skips past Todd, Ameobi gets over, and he makes life difficult. Doesn't allow the cross in. That was fantastic covering.
Lee. Parker now switches to Charlton's match winner when these sides met in the northeast earlier in the season. Graham Stewart, Sky Digital viewers, channel 404. One of Stewart's 5 goals this season. He's the leading marksman that they've got on the pitch at the moment. And Hansen is on the bench if required. 13, 10 of them in the Premiership. Decent haul. Svensson, but he's given it away. Ameobi. Harper winning it back for Charlton. It's not where Svensson wanted it.
Just been a couple of times with Charlton, Martin, if had good possession either left or right. That was the case. Graham Stuart had kept it going right hand side. He had Kishishev and acres of space on the right. Change of play has been on for them at times, Charlton.
Svensson just saw it out there. Get Charlton the throat. Used his strength against Barton. It's a two. Shoulder to shoulder again. Barton quite appreciated what Svensson did to earn that throw. Jensen, Stuart. And they've carried on. I think Paul Durkin's aware of this. Barton and Svensson not the best of friends.
Much ado about nothing, really. I mean, he was always looking for this challenge, I think, Paul Durkin. There was a little spat on the touchline. Again, about nothing much. A little word with both.
Well, we talk about great competitors and the instincts you need to play at this level, but maybe that's stretching it a bit far to get so overexcited about the way a throw went against you as Warren Barton did. And Svensson was pleased to get involved as well. Solano. Stuart. I feel that Robert Lee would like to get forward a bit more in this particular game. Now Paul Durkin's going to get a card out here, and Solano was on the receiving end from Parker.
Well, he is competitive. There's absolutely doubt about that, Scott Parker, and he's saying that he won the ball. I think he probably took a bit of both. But if the referee decides it was player first, Martin, then
it has to be a booking, really.
It has to be.
Coming in from the back. Solano short with the free kick, as he has been with some corners. Jensen tidied up by Barton. Charlton actually conceded a goal against Spurs when they had a free kick and lost out to a counter-attack, and Newcastle were in danger of falling into the same trap on the same ground. Oh, what's happened to Solano's delivery today?
Probably thinking about La Manga tomorrow in the first tee. No, but it's been poor today. Roberto Solano, he doesn't need you or I to be saying that. He knows, there's no doubt about that. He's got much better quality than that. It would just be like him though if they get a free kick 20, 30, 25, 30 yards from goal for him to find the top corner.
He's scored 6 times in his last 12 games. Just as a supplier that is useful to Newcastle United. Jensen kept his balance, made sure Charlton kept the ball. Parker, Kishishev tucking in from the right. It's a bit narrow, Charlton's play at times. But everything running inside to out from Svensson. Good defending by Quinn. And they've got him forward.
Unlucky.
Hill, not quite.
Unlucky. Clever ball, that. Great vision.
Parker. Now Jensen. It's a good contest in the middle third of the pitch. There's a lot of talent on view. Bartlett a bit unlucky. Kishishev. Parker. Jensen. Slipped back to him by Kishishev. Jensen again. It's an easy ball on here for Powell. Oh, Bartlett. Svensson, can he keep it down? He can. He finds the corner. It's come from across, and Charlton lead Newcastle 1-0.
Well, it's a great goal and a wonderful build-up. But I talked at the top of the show, Martin, about Solano. You don't give him defensive duties. He lost out in a very poor challenge there with Jensen, and from there was danger. It's an absolutely glorious tuck back from Bartlett. Not looking for goal here. He assesses the difficulty, sees his strike partner, who really did take his time. That's when you know all about it. You know you've got a bit of time. You know you can wait for it. My goodness, he tucked it away beautifully.
Very sweet for the Swede, who keeps his run of goals at the Valley going. So is it the curse of the capital again for Newcastle United? I just wonder how far we can take that back, Andy. The play built up on the opposite flank.
It's fabulous, Mark, wasn't it? Really was a build-up.
Here's Svensson again.
Well, it's another Premiership fixture that Newcastle have conceded. It was lovely, patient build-up, Mark. It'd be interesting. Maybe Richard will be able to tell us at half-time just the amount of passes that were actually involved in that.
There's a little nutmeg as well, wasn't there, with Kishishev?
Yeah. Just about everything.
Oh, Barton. Out comes Given with the punch. Parker wants to turn it back straight away. Came off the head of Lee. Corner.
Well, it's suddenly come to life, this match. Thought it was a pretty average half hour we had.
Todd goes near post. Rufus coming in behind him. Fish is there. Oh. Svensson is everywhere.
Well, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that was just an instinctive header that arrives at him very, very quickly. I wondered if this was a chance, the first header. It's gone straight across goal. Well, you know, having just scored, it wouldn't surprise me if he'd have directed that past Shea Given again.
They're very disappointed, Newcastle, not to have Alan Gomar to marshal their defending, and when Charlton get the ball wide and whip it across, well, I must say Newcastle do look very brittle at the back.
They've looked ragged, haven't they?
Gomar, who broke a bone in a hand at Chelsea. Speed was labouring to get there. Alan Gomar just to the right of the picture there. You can just see right on the extreme of the screen that injury. Carl Court, I think he was sitting with. Forget he's a Newcastle player. With so much wretched trouble with the hamstring. It looks as though they've both got the trip to La Manga as well. It's a header one in that Newcastle penalty area again by Bartlett.
Well, it's always difficult, you know, Mark. Sometimes when a front man like Bartlett ball come across, many people would excuse him for going for goal, but how quickly he assessed. You know, it would have been a really difficult header for that, and how quickly he spotted Svensson.
That's terrific play by Acuna for Newcastle. Solano, and Rufus has to deal with it. Ball too deep for Acuna, or Clarence, I suppose it probably is in South America.
We like Clarence.
Yeah, Bobby will know the Spanish pronunciations, won't he? He was telling me it was Marcelino before the game. I think Wadsworth alongside, a bit more blunt, Yorkshireman.
I mean, it does put an enormous amount of pressure on your front men, your attacking players, Mark, when you're on a run like this. 18 league games now and no clean sheets. And your front men are thinking, man, if we don't score, we ain't winning a game. You know, we ain't even drawing it, probably.
Svensson. Now Kishishev.
Handball, I think he's given.
On goes Stuart. Oh, Paul Durkin's given the goal for Bartlett. And Newcastle are surrounding the referee. The flag certainly went up.
I thought it went up for handball, Martin. I think that's what Paul Durkin did. He's played, I think, and I might be wrong, I think he's played a great advantage. He's going to go over and consult with the linesman. Might well have a word, and I think we'll find that he gave the flag went up for a handball against the Newcastle player. It dropped to a Charlton player. He waved play on. I think if that is what happened, the goal will stand.
Well, Graham Atkins has gone to talk to the Newcastle bench to explain to Mick Wadsworth, who questioned it and got the same answer that I think you've given the nation of it.
There's a ball just played round the corner here. This one here. It's that one. We don't quite see it. But that was when. We don't see it in that one, man. But it's not that first ball. It's this one here. There. The flag goes up now. That was what the flag. But look how quickly the referee says it. You have to say absolutely top marks to the referee for saying that, for spotting that, for letting it go.
And top marks to Sean Bartlett, who has now made one and scored one.
Second goal of the afternoon is number 37, Sean Bartlett.
Ameobi. Barton. Well, although the first third of the game wasn't particularly sensational, the signs were there that Charlton were making the chances. There were headers that might have been made more of. There was Bartlett's wonderful effort that Given responded with a save onto the post. But now, well, suddenly the wheels have come off for Newcastle United. A brilliant first goal for Charlton, and certainly one that we'll talk about the second for other reasons. Lee. Dyer. Rufus got to it. Charlton queuing up for trying to clear and getting in each other's way, and then the Solano pointing to the ball as if he got a touch on that, but Jensen went down in a heap.
A little bit of confusion in there, their own doing really. Too many cooks.
Well, of course, when Newcastle last came here, it was they who led 2-0. And it was not a winning lead. So we mustn't write off the side that are trailing by that margin with half-time approaching. But it's looking good for Charlton in this attempt to get to 40 points today. By mid-February, oh my goodness, I don't think Alan Curbishley would have expected that when the season began back in August. Parker, Kishishev in space to the right. Parker ignores the Bulgarian, tries to slide something through the centre. Given is given it away. I believe that Charlton did likewise through Stuart. Jensen. Acuna. Todd. Andy Todd goes again and really drills it up to the feet of Svensson. Quick feet from Klaus Jensen. Powell. Well, the flag is up against Svensson here, and surely that is for offside again. Paul Durkin overrules it, but that's because Newcastle in the safe grasp of Given had the ball. Jensen. We're in stoppage time before half-time at the Valley. And there's a real feel-good factor amongst the Charlton supporters at the moment. Stuart, Parker. Bartlett, right again. Just a toe away by Marcelino. Marcelino. Finally brought down by Andy Todd. Older viewers will liken that to his famous father Colin, who certainly did know how to defend.
He was a player, absolutely. I know to my cost many times.
Ameobi backed up by Barton. Andy Todd is there again. The confidence that a 2-0 lead can bring, but 2-0 up against Tottenham on Wednesday. Charlton won't be taking anything for granted. Svensson got the first. It was a brilliantly worked goal, which Bartlett played a big part in. Second, controversial. We'll perhaps hear some Newcastle complaints. Bartlett rammed it home. Still one or two words of explanation maybe needed by Paul Durkin, but it looked as though he was entitled to play an advantage, and it came off for the referee. It certainly came off for Charlton at half-time at the Valley. Charlton 2, Newcastle 0.
Well, they waited and they waited, but finally they broke through, and they lead at half-time, as Martin said, by 2-0. Harry Redknapp's thoughts when we come back, and we'll clear up the controversy as best we can. 1-0 to Celtic earlier today, and with more Scottish Premier League action tonight, 6 o'clock rather, over on Sky Sports 3. St Johnstone meet Kilmarnock. And here on Sky Sports 1, from Spain, it's Racing Santander against Barcelona. That's tonight at 6:30 on 1. But you can't ask much more of your front two. Svensson and Bartlett the scorers, as Charlton lead at half-time by 2-0. So then kind to mention again that they did against Spurs in the Cup in midweek and lost 4-2. I'm sure Alan Curbishley will be reminding his players of that fact. Harry Redknapp is with us here this afternoon. Well, we've had 1 or 2 decisions this weekend to talk about. We will tomorrow night on the Monday Night Football, but here, let's have a look at what the linesman and the referee were concerned about, Harry. And we've had confirmation from Paul Durkin that it was for handball, but look, flag on the far side with the linesman, there.
Goes up.
Now,
yeah. There was no handball.
Paul Durkin looked just to the right of the screen, says play on, but we should take a closer look.
It's only missed him by a yard.
It wasn't a handball.
No, it was only a yard away. It could have been.
So we criticise officials often enough. That's good advantage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good advantage from Durkin for sure. And what the linesman's put his flag up for, I don't know. But 1 or 2 players looked like he stopped a bit as well. But it was a right decision from the referee.
So that made it 2 on half-time. The first goal we were talking about, and we're on quite a roll here in terms of answering questions. Bobby Robson's query about games in charge of Ipswich earlier. Andy's about passes, about 17 odd here from the far side. Look, where had that gone, Dyer might have been in, but
yeah,
it's neatly worked. This,
yeah, it's nice to see him keep the ball. Lots of movement, a little takeover.
We're not far from West Ham territory. This is very West Ham, isn't it?
Yeah, they kept the ball well there.
And still got it.
Yeah.
Having nearly given it away. Nice nutmeg.
It was a poor challenge there, wasn't it? Was it Solano?
And the cross?
Great ball in, a great header and a terrific volley. He's excellent in the air, Bartlett. Look at the height he springs, and when it comes down, Svensson adjusts his body well, left foot. It's a great volley, difficult volley.
Got to wait a long time for it.
He had to wait for it to come down, being closed down by Marcelino, but his shape and everything was perfect. Good finish.
And what of Newcastle United? Much chance, if any, here?
Well, not unless they play a bit better than they did in the first half. I mean, the stats tell you no shots on target. I mean, you're not going to win a game unless you get a shot on target, and in that first half they never threatened.
Will they be disappointed about the second goal being allowed to stand? Do they have an argument?
No, not really. No, I think the linesman's made a ricket putting his flag up, but the referees made the right decision, let him play go on because there was no handball. And when the ball came in, they didn't defend it particularly well, and it's cost them. They've really got to. You know, I know they threw a 2-goal advantage away in midweek against Tottenham, but unless Newcastle pick their game up, you can't see Newcastle getting back in the game because they're not a threat at the moment.
2-0 to Charlton at the Valley at half-time. Svensson and Bartlett the scorers. Big job on for Newcastle. So many controversial decisions this weekend. We'll get the final word from Andy on what's happened tomorrow night before the Monday Night Football. The live match comes from Upton Park. It's West Ham against Coventry. It all starts at 7 o'clock here on 1, and of course the game is interactive for Sky Digital viewers on Sky Sports Extra. That's channel 404. I think at the Stadium of Light they probably all just threw up their hands in the end. There were so many strange ones there. And one here today, the second goal, which I don't know, did Newcastle stop, Harry, and are they likely to feel aggrieved? Look, there goes the flag.
Yeah, no, if you look, no one's actually looking at the line, so I don't think anyone plays just carried on. I mean, he's made a run from the middle of the park. I mean, the referee made the right decision, you know, because it wasn't a handball. The linesman made the wrong decision putting his flag up.
But full marks Mr. Durkin for playing on.
Yeah, he's done well, yeah.
Keep your eyes on him, look.
Yeah, have a look at Acuna here. Have a look at Stuart getting in the box. Look, shall I chase him? Just let him run.
2-0 can be a deceptive lead, can't it? Look, now I just wonder, is that worthy of a look by that video panel that occasionally sits and
not really
often makes decisions? And
if they've got nothing better to do, if they've got nothing to do for a few days, they may decide to look here. But other than that, they probably won't bother, you know. But they've not dealt with the ball in the box all day, Newcastle. Any crosses, I mean, the front two have headed every ball that's come in there. They look too strong for them.
2-0 Charlton. Here we go then. Time for the second half of Charlton against Newcastle United. A Sky Sports production available in widescreen, Dolby surround sound and interactive with the stats, highlights, full screen camera angles, player cam and fan zone. That's for Sky Digital viewers on channel 404, Sky Sports Extra. Let's rejoin Andy Gray and Martin Tyler.
Thank you very much, Richard. Charlton getting a good hand as they come out for the second half. Newcastle are attacking the end that Tottenham did so successfully in the second period here on Wednesday. So much to talk about with that second goal. You just wonder, Andy, what would have happened if Paul Durkin had responded to the flag and pulled the play back for a non-existent handball?
Well, that would have been incredible if he'd have gone over there and, having consulted with the linesman, changed his mind and gave Charlton a free kick on the edge of the box. It would have been extraordinary. I like to say they got it right. Paul Durkin, excellent refereeing, absolutely top class, and I don't think Newcastle can have any complaints. Warren Barton defended it poorly. At the end of the day, could easily have cleared his lines.
So Charlton do have a 2-goal advantage. Alan Curbishley won't want his players to see that as a comfort zone. Here's Powell. Svensson. So what can Newcastle do about this? Well, they won't concede another quickly in the second half, and the game really be put totally beyond them relatively early in the piece. Parker. Svensson has been very lively and cut that back, and no one had quite taken the gamble of going in early. Graham Stuart was trying to get there.
For sure, where Sean Bartlett ended up so far outside the box, Mark. Must have got involved in an aerial tussle a little earlier. A very positive opening. Charlton come out, started where they left off at the end of the first half. And what we believe on Wednesday, and you know Mervyn Day better than most, Martin, it was going looking for a third that was the start of the problems. I don't think at 2-0 you have to go looking for a third. What you have to be is sensible. You have to make sure you don't overcommit. You make sure you've always got a man over at the back. You still go and play progressive football, but you don't have to take any chances. That's the difference for me. And I think that's what we'll find. Charlton will continue to try and play in the same vein they did in the first half. And Bobby Robson will obviously be looking for a an awful lot more from his team. Well, I think defensively Bobby's team have to get it right in 2 counts. As Harry said quite rightly at half-time, they haven't dealt with anything coming in the box all day. But I think also they haven't picked up runners. People who have run from midfield have run free time and time again.
There's Bartlett climbing well. It's Klaus Jensen trying to get his left foot around it. If he'd done it first as the ball dropped, well, he was in a better position, but it was a more difficult ball to hit in trying to set himself. He ran out of room and ran out of time.
He's played well for me today, Klaus Jensen, with an excellent 47 minutes of football.
Harper has helped clear the way for him at times. Ameobi. Forward by Fish. Lee, who actually scored more goals for Charlton against Newcastle than any other player bar Martin Robinson. He shares the total of 5 in his Charlton days against the team that he now plays for. And Solano working back this time, as if maybe he got a message in his ear during the interval from Bobby Robson. Jensen. Forward by Powell. Marcelino has the play safe with Svensson around. Rufus. Nicely down by Svensson. Speed is a bit risky, helped out by Aaron Hughes. And here's Quinn. Dyer. To see him more in the game. The Newcastle perspective on this perilous situation for them at the Valley.
Yeah, he's played most of the match, as we saw him there, Mark, with his back to goal like this. Only on the half-turn. Haven't seen him yet ever getting the ball in front of him, really, in the last third, and been able to run at people.
He's come deeper to try and get involved here.
Well, you're happy, Alan Curbishley will be absolutely delighted to see him picking the ball off Marcelino in his own half.
The momentum from Lee, from Solano's pass, but Lee tracked by Jensen. There's a tracker, not a tackler, Klaus Jensen. Charlton's records, he didn't commit a foul in the Premiership until the 23rd game that they played this season. They gave him the captaincy of a 5-a-side team the following week in training in honour of his first foul of the season. One of the more extraordinary facts that we can bring you. But he's splendid on the ball. This is the player we're talking about, the gifted Dane. Svensson, the Swede.
It's fully expecting him to stand that up, man, rather than drive it across goal.
Svensson even pressurising the goalkeeper into kicking it out of play. It's all going Charlton's way at the moment.
No, Newcastle haven't been at it today, I don't think at all.
They were very disappointed that the game was called off at St James's Park last Sunday. To get back at home after a run of away games. Chance they felt against Southampton of getting some points and pressing on up the table. But here they are coming into a sequence of away games again, and all the difficulties that come on your travels, whether you're playing in London or anywhere else in the Premiership. Quinn gets it back from Speed. Now Dyer. But had chances to advance in the first half, and there's another opportunity here. Solano.
That's typified Solano's performance for me, Martin.
Wrong choice.
Quality should be better from him. He knows that. He's a much better player than we've seen today. But I think no matter, even at 2-0, and I think Bobby Robson, if they can get the next goal, Newcastle, poorly as they've played, in my opinion, that they're still very much alive in the game. But they do have to get the goal, and then Charlton might think back to Wednesday night. They might begin to get a little bit tentative on the pitch.
Yes, certainly supporters would, you would think, get edgy. So Parker trying to get Bartlett in for a third, and certainly clinching imprint on the scoreline today. Fish. Kishishev. Solano gave it away, and it's ended with Powell in a good position for the cross. Jensen. Oh, he was certainly leaning back when he struck it.
What he did do very well was assess it. He knew that Bartlett was struggling at the back post, and he just pulls away. He thinks it might drop in the area he's going to look at. I think it should maybe have been delivered now, but he took a touch on it, Chris Powell. A little bit heavy with it, and Jensen had just worked his way around in the off chance it was going to drop there.
Dyer. Now Lee. Looking for Barton. It's retrieved by Solano. Marcelino. Hughes. Again coming deep and wanting it to feet, getting it from Quinn. Trying to be the catalyst for change here for Newcastle United. Lee. Marcelino. Possession from Bobby Robson's men. Long to Ameobi. It's a bit harder to rein it in for the youngster. Ameobi's done very well there. Solano. Quinn just had to check. But gets his cross in. Acuna almost able to make just a little bit of contact, which might have touched the ball goalwards or on for Solano, who wasn't far behind him.
Best passage of play for Newcastle, that, in the whole match. Kept it, patient, lots of passes.
Rufus read that well. Svensson.
Last 5 minutes, he's got that very long passage of play where they kept the ball in it.
It's missed by Marcelino, but Hughes almost anticipated that. He certainly was there to help out. Solano. Peruvian again, Ameobi. Ameobi just a little too anxious to try and take on Rufus down the touchline then. Well, they would love to have this fellow out there in these circumstances, and it won't be long before he's back. And I should imagine that Bobby Robson probably had well, I'm sure his enthusiasm to even participate today.
I had a word with Alan in the tunnel mark before the game. I asked him, I asked him how his week had gone. He said he had a little setback on Monday. Not right, well, no, he's letting away with it, probably because it's Rob Lee. But he had a little setback on Monday. Otherwise, I think he might well have been sat on the bench, but he's got another week. And then he'll be unleashed again, I feel, certainly next weekend or the weekend after.
Bartlett. Certainly Graham Stuart anticipated that Bartlett would win that, but he was just starting a bit too far away to fasten on to the flick.
It's a brilliant take from Jensen. And he pulled that out of the sky. That came down with ice on it. Lovely touch.
It's great credit to what Bolton have done this season, that they have moved players on. Likely Jensen had to sell them, and good Johansson. Mark Fish, of course, is involved today. Hughes had to hang it forward, helped out by Lee. Jensen showing he can tackle. But broke for speed. Quinn. Well, the problem with Kieran Dyer coming deep all the time, Ameobi's having to work the full width of the pitch to show for the longer ball. And, Newcastle had the dally in possession at the back there was just nothing on.
I'm just looking over it. It was only a matter of time before Bobby Robson changed it, Martin. I think it's Kevin Gallacher I can see stripped off and ready to go.
Solano. Still the feeling that should Newcastle score the next goal in the game, all is not yet decided here at the Valley today. Stuart.
A change will be made.
Gallacher, who's missed a lot of the season through injury, then when he got fit again, a victim to winter virus. He's coming on for Acuna. Worked short, and Gallacher bright and alert, typical of him, at the taking of it.
Well, I feel sure that that'll just mean he's got to play up front with Ameobi, and they'll just bring Dyer back into a midfield starting position. I still think they'll want Keenan Dyer to drive forward more often than not, but the starting position instead of being up top will be just a touch deeper.
Stuart. Todd was getting in a tangle with Parker. They've passed it well again, Charlton, and Jensen, the great ball carrier, on the move once more. Parker. Kishishev. Svensson. Parker's made it his. Wasn't the best return ball. Oh, it falls for Svensson. Well, that could have come out to Bartlett or Stuart, who were in there, and maybe Gibbons earned a bit of luck there that he parried it into Newcastle's path.
Well, that's when hard work gets its rewards, Martin, because that's what Scott Parker earned. He earned the right to get this ball dropped for one of his mates, because he won his way through a couple of big tackles. It dropped beautifully for Svensson. I can't fault what he did. Hard and low across the goalkeeper. This is an excellent save. And he got a little bit of luck. Dropped to one of his own. It's a bit like role reversal for you and I. Sat here the last time in this particular match. It was 2-0 Newcastle at this stage. Back came Charlton, storming back to 2-2.
Well, there's a problem from that for Parker that Alan Curbishley wants to check out himself. Bartlett, it's another great knockdown from the South African international. He's on loan here still from a Swiss club, Zurich. And there certainly is doing plenty today to suggest that Charlton might be well advised to get him sorted out with a permanent move.
And they want Parker back on, and Paul Durkin's loath to bring him on when the ball's so close to the touchline where he stood. I think that's the... And the one thing about Bartlett, when you look at it, 2 goals against Manchester United, big game, goal in a live match against West Ham, goal in another live match today.
Marcelino's well up the field and nearly spun away to the stride of Jensen by the halfway line. Kishishev, who actually has kicked the ball away there, but Paul Durkin, so anxious to get to the spot where the decision was relevant, where the free kick will be taken from, didn't see Kishishev knock it away. He was looking at this part of the pitch here where the free kick is taken from, and Rob Lee can line one up.
Good hands. There are plenty of people attacking that. Sasa Ilic had spilled it in any way. 63 minutes almost. The first time they've warmed Sasa Ilic's hands.
I'd be happy if they continue to come that height from that range. But Gallacher. Dyer. Deflected cross from Solano. Corner for Newcastle.
One or two signs, Martin, that Newcastle might, before the day's out, ask a question or two of Charlton. Hasn't looked likely up to now.
Newcastle, a team that's hardly played recently, whereas Charlton, the tough, demanding and demoralising midweek FA Cup action here. Dyer. Trying to stick to him.
Great player. He's 20 years of age, isn't he, Scott Parker, but he's got sticky ability, Martin, I tell you. He's not easily eased off the ball.
Gallacher going to win another corner for Newcastle. He's done that. No Charlton pen back at the moment, but still 2 goals to the good. Svensson and Bartlett in the latter stages of the first half. Good towards Ameobi again.
I'll tell you that, I think that's too deep again, Martin. Quality hasn't been great from that little man there.
Bartlett chasing and challenging. And he might have come off the worst here, but Andy spelling out his strengths there. The weakness is a point that Harry Redknapp made at the start of our programme. Of course, he's African, and yeah, there are times where he has to go off and play for his country when the club need him.
Well, that's why you need 3 and 4 now, Martin, at Premiership level with strikers. Every club does. I mean, that again, you know, you don't deal with it. They should be dealing with that before it bounces, because as soon as Marcelino and Hughes have allowed that ball to bounce, then they've got a problem, and they've given the goalkeeper a problem. I'm afraid in the game it is now, Matt, we're stuck with that. The Premiership managers are going to buy African players, and they're going to have to accept they're going to lose them for big chunks of the season at times.
It's the Scandinavian who's the subject of our player cam, Klaus Jensen, Sky Digital viewers, channel 404. Bartlett's big and brawny and brave, and on he goes, and he's ready to challenge for the next one, which comes up straight away, and he guides it down shrewdly for Kishishev. Can we speed? It's important for Newcastle there. Quick speed for Lee. Solano goes to the right. Gallacher through the centre. Ameobi is there. He took that nicely on the half turn. Solano. Ameobi. Space for a shot himself, and
what a save. Oh, what a touch. Little piece of magic from Ameobi. Great feet. You watch how quickly he shifts it from one to the other. There it goes. Great. What a save that is from Ilic. Must have seen it late.
Quarter of the game to go. Newcastle's corner. Ilic through the crowd, and does another part of the goalkeeping job well to force it away with the fists. Solano taking the corner. Dyer. Jensen making sure he wasn't trapped in his own penalty area. That'll do for Kishishev and Charlton.
Well, a little caught Charlton. They're caught between pushing forward a little mark and looking for a goal and protecting what they have. They're inviting a little bit of pressure on. Newcastle have responded quite well, but Charlton are inviting it.
One man who's not holding back is Scott Parker. He's won it again for Charlton. Kishishev's ball, Bartlett just ran behind Stuart, but Svensson is there. Graham Stuart's disappointed because if Svensson had reversed it, then he was in behind the Magpies. Jensen. Fish. Stuart. Kishishev, strong man pounded across Barton, took it on the chest. Referee well placed the spot. Todd trying to catch Given off his line, and Beckham-esque from Andy Todd.
Or did he get there and think, oh no, where do I go from here? There's not a lot in front of him, not many options. It's being closed down.
The very worst was what happened for Charlton. It led to a goal kick. It's gone out of play. They've got the throw, and a few more seconds have passed, and the 2-0 lead is still intact. Jensen. Dyer, deeper now. Gallacher ahead of it. Solano has kept it in. Marcelino. Gallacher. Fish waiting for it to set right for him on his left foot.
No, don't invite pressure like that. Deal with it. When he wanted Ilic to come, he was never going to get there. It was Dyer flying in on the end of it.
Rufus. Allowed to cross. Little touch on from Solano. Ilic has had to play second fiddle to Dean Kiley, who's been a great acquisition for Charlton. But my goodness, that's a little statement to the management team that he's still around here. Got another goalkeeper, Mervyn Day, signing really from his Carlisle days, Tony Caig, who's on the bench today, who was more recently with Blackpool. So there's plenty of competition around. Just a little bit overconfident, maybe. Parker's still in there battling, and he needed to then.
He likes those, doesn't he?
It's the sort of pitch for those as well, isn't it? Lee. That's a very cleverly crafted pass by Rob Lee. Ameobi, and was Dyer surprised? He certainly didn't go through the gears as he can do. Ameobi tries again. Gallacher. Partially away by Kishishev, but it'll come back at Charlton again through Rob Lee. But confused rather by Dyer. Cleared by Powell. Well, inviting pressure is certainly the word, but here Svensson takes matters into his own hand. But beautifully taken by Gallacher. Solano. Harper trying to stop Dyer getting in behind him, and full stretch, hurt again. but just what his team needed then, because if Dyer gets away there, then problems loom large for the home side.
That's the ugly part of playing in midfield, Martin, is that part of it. That really takes drive, that really takes a will to do that, a wanting to do it. I don't think Newcastle have done that as well as Charlton today, that particular job, tracking players back. He has, you couldn't fault him, he's been on every blade of grass, that young lad on this pitch today.
And remember, he was booked in the first half as well, so every tackle carries a little bit extra threat. Well, it's going to be a double change. The last two rolls of the dice for Bobby Robson. Rob Lee, to universal acclaim within the ground, not just Newcastle fans, of course, appreciating him as one of those going off. Maybe no surprise that Solano is followed after a disappointing day. LuaLua is on, and Bassedas as well.
Newcastle substitutions. Number 8 is number 10, Bassedas. And number 15, Solano is number 21.
Quinn. Dyer, Jensen to keep Charlton in possession. It's Warren Barton now for Newcastle. They've had much more of the ball in the second half. A forced one, fine save through Ameobi from Ilic. It's still trailed by 2 goals to 0 as they did at half-time. Got a free kick here. Left footer Wayne Quinn has come across to take it. It's on its way by Bartlett. Bassedas still getting his bearings. It's a drop ball for Paul Durkin, one would expect here. Don't think he's supposed to be involved as a player, though.
That was a lovely touch.
It's a free kick to Charlton. We're coming towards the last 15 minutes. Good climb by Marcelino. Gallacher. Dyer. LuaLua. Tidied up by Todd. Kishishev picking his pass. Jensen likewise. Svensson. Gave Marcelino a chance to make the interception, otherwise we might have been hailing another glorious passing move for Charlton Athletic, like the one that produced their opening goal. Quinn.
He's shown too much of that to Kishishev.
Just a little bit casual, maybe a bit tired. And Newcastle have the throw. They still, you feel, have enough time if they can get a goal in the next 5 minutes or so to really prey on Charlton anxieties.
Well, I think get a goal in the last 5 minutes and it's the first. Yeah. That's enough time. Yeah. You know, in this game it was well, as we've talked about, Charlton's late show when they were 2-0 down here against Newcastle last time up. The corner starts growing. Now will they get one in of any real quality they can attack, make something happen.
Ameobi. But to his great credit, he's not been on the fringe of things for Bobby Robson. He's taken on the responsibility. Change for Charlton. And it's a welcome back from their point of view to Johansson as they say thank you to Sean Bartlett for a mighty contribution in this match. tangling with Dyer again and coming out on top. Johansson's had their knee surgery and has made a quicker than anticipated recovery. Svensson. Well, he's been also a standout for Matt Svensson. He does have a fiery side to his nature.
Well, the book's coming out, I think.
Some concern there for Charlton, which Graham Stuart is illustrating. Barton's being called back.
Well, it's afters here more than anything, isn't it? Almost wrestling with each other.
Some hair pulling and with a slap. Not too much tickle.
Maybe he just wanted some of his gel.
A booking apiece. Free kick which Jensen can't fire into the centre.
Oh, they could only have been about 5 yards away from that, I have to say, when Jensen hit that.
A booking that means suspension for Matt Svensson. And also for Warren Barton. Dealt with by Given. Stuart. Well, they might not need a third goal maybe now, Charlton, but looking for a second wind, having rather adopted an understandably cautious approach after what happened here on Wednesday. Much of what we've seen in the second half. Headed out by Hughes. Ameobi. And it's taken on by Bassedas. Dyer. Fish trying to cut him off, but Dyer still goes on.
Yeah, he stuck to it well. That hasn't happened enough. First time in the match it was really in the 88th minute that we've seen Kieran Dyer running this way, deep into the last third, really driving at the Charlton back line, but you have to say Fish did ever so well.
Clever change of direction by Dyer. Good spot by Todd. Bassedas now under the gaze of the player cam for Sky Digital viewers, channel 404. Put away by Todd. Speed. Marcelino a little bit wasteful. Kishishev looking up with Johansson. Bartlett has to come across. Have to play their way forward here, Newcastle, and on this occasion with a good deal of style. Quinn, Ameobi, the speed to take it on the burst. Good work by Stuart this time. It's not ugly side of the game that Andy was referring to. You're the player having to put it in, running towards your own goal. It's never quite as easy as running towards the opposition's. Dyer. LuaLua. It can be a real box of tricks. Speed. promising for Newcastle. Off the head of Rufus, Kishishev didn't kill it or clear it. Speed, Ameobi, Rufus partially. More meat added to Charlton's clearing by Graham Stuart.
Sometimes you have to do that. You have to just scrap it away. Enough bodies in there.
LuaLua started deep. And headed off by Richard Rufus in the end. It's a push by the signing from Colchester.
Well, I think Alan Curbishley will be delighted, Mark. Sent out the same team after that disappointment in midweek. Well, a substitution will be made, maybe one or two tired legs after that. He'll be absolutely delighted with the response of his team. 2 goals. They've been comfortable second half, I have to say. There were no great dramas for them apart from that one Ameobi attempt that was brilliantly saved by Ilic.
With John Robinson coming on, the likelihood a wide midfield man could be sacrificed. It's the man on the right, Radostin Kishishev, rather than Graham Stuart.
He's telling Graham Stuart to stay left side, he'll go right.
7 minutes or so plus stoppage time between Charlton Athletic and the princely sum of 40 points.
And a guarantee of Premiership football next year.
Speed. Gary Speed again. Here's Quinn. He was anxious to get the crossing quickly, but maybe too quickly. One wonders what the immediate future holds for Wayne Quinn.
Yeah, he's got to deliver better than that if he wants it to be here at Newcastle. That was a wonderful ball from Gary Speed. At this level, control and cross was required. I'm afraid the control was sadly lacking this late in the game. They had loads of possession this half. Newcastle, lots of it.
Johansson. Charlton happy to get the throw. A few more seconds pass. Great home record. Only Sunderland have beaten them here in the Premiership.
And when you think that Manchester United have been here, Arsenal have been here, I think.
Yes, they beat Arsenal.
Chelsea have been here.
Thriller with Manchester United 3-3. But those 3 chaps we saw on the far side then, Alan Curbishley, Keith Peacock and Mervyn Day, can feel very proud if the 3 points are bagged in the next 5 minutes or so. Oof. Well, that was Svensson hopefully going for the ball, but he certainly didn't make contact with it.
Well, it was lowish. I think we could say it was maybe low enough to accept that Svensson was sticking up a bit to try and hook it round the corner here. Just catch his shoes, but you can see how he was dipping towards it. Spilling blood for the cause.
Well, coming up shortly on Sky Sports 3, St Johnstone against Kilmarnock on a day when Celtic have beaten Rangers. Sorry, Andy.
Thanks, mate.
And Monday night, Andy, it will be all objectivity. West Ham against Coventry, Sky Sports 1, Sky Sports Extra, plus of course that fascinating first hour and a look back at the weekend's action with so many talking points, including a most unusual incident here today in the lead up to Charlton's second goal. Quinn, who's patched up. Speed. Now Barton. There's been plenty of this in the second half, but it's in the last third that they're still wanting. Speed. Which got in the way. Those ricochets that worked for Spurs on Wednesday and falling for Newcastle here at the Valley today. That's a terrific tackle, as good as we've seen, really. It's Johansson defending from the front.
They'll get a good team spirit at Charlton. Absolutely no doubt in that. Really work hard for each other. Work hard as a team.
Svensson chasing, but feeling the effects of his labours, but he still made give and play it, and that's all you can ask. From the manager's point of view, it takes a bit more time to restart the game. Charlton have got the ball in their hands. This will be 9 home wins from 14 in the Premiership. Very different to what happened when they were up in the Elite 2 seasons ago, when it was their lack of home form that really was the major reason for them falling straight back down to Division 1. They've come back stronger. It's fine work by the man who shoulders all the responsibility. Powell.
I think it's a reward. Sorry, man. I think it's a reward for the club as well. Often when teams get relegated, the thing that supporters and clubs do is look to change the manager. Stuck by Alan. Okay, they went down. Have come back up a far stronger side. Much like I can think of Middlesbrough doing the same with Robbo when they went down. Up they came again. And Sunderland with Peter Reid. Managers who have been backed. Clubs have been rewarded.
Stuart. Johansson buying Charlton a bit more time. 5 times at Tottenham, 3 times at Wimbledon, 4 at Arsenal, 3 at Chelsea, 3 at Wembley, 3 at West Ham, 2 at Charlton if it finishes this way.
Let me guess what you're talking about.
1 at Leyton Orient.
Times that Newcastle have come to London and not won.
I've left it late, but so have Newcastle. If they're going to change that, they need 3 goals in stoppage time. Here's Barton. Which thinks that's going to be a corner, and he's prevented it.
4 minutes.
I think Charlton might try and use up a bit of that with another substitution, because the comeback for Mark Kinsella is about to be put into place for limited exposure today. Simply stoppage time. LuaLua. Quinn. Rufus has let it run. Gallacher darting in, and Ilic has kept it out, and Chris Powell's on hand to tidy it up. Close call for Charlton there.
Yeah, I think Rufus is under it with Ameobi and Mark. And suddenly there's a problem. I don't think he's got a right to get a shot in Gallacher. He's had little to do, Ilic, but he's made 2 wonderful saves this second half.
And it's Scotty Barker who's going off. He has had a terrific 91 minutes. He's been at the core of it in both dimensions of the game, really. When Charlton were calling the tune, he was supporting the likes of Jensen and keeping things ticking over in midfield, and he's been chasing Dyer and company successfully in the second half. Ameobi. Fish putting it into safe ground. Barton. Fish's header. Jensen trying to defend from the front. Dyer. Nothing wide on the right. So he's going to do that himself. Back into speed. Quinn has kept it in, and not a corner this time. Swept away safely enough by Kinsella.
Bad first touch, that was it.
Wasn't the easiest.
No, arrived awkward, controlled it, swept it away.
Hughes, but well, as far as Charlton at home and Newcastle away, particularly in London, it's gone pretty much according to season's form here at the Valley. But Sasha Ilic deserves the accolade, as Andy's pointed out. The 2 saves in the second half. And he'll be feeling an awful lot better after the disappointment of conceding 4, particularly that Darren Anderton free kick amongst them here on Wednesday. Charlton got that all wrong. Wrong players in the wall, wrong positioning for the goalkeeper, and certainly the wrong result on the night. But it's the right scoreline for them in the main priority for their season, the Premiership. LuaLua. Jensen. Johansson thought it might fall for Svensson rather than him. Stuart to get it down. Think of what might be on in the centre. Also, what might be the value of just keeping the ball. Final thoughts, Andy?
Well, I can't argue with the result. I've been impressed with Charlton's attitude. The display's been good. He set his side out really positively. I've been disappointed in Newcastle, Martin, I have to be honest. I don't think they ever got started, really. Never been a threat. 2 saves for the goalkeeper to make. I don't think anyone can argue with that result.
Well, they gave him the presentation watch before the game, but maybe he'll be deserving of another award for 40 points for Charlton Athletic, and we're only in the middle of February. Svensson and Bartlett scored splendid goals in the first half, and Charlton was strong enough and wise enough after Wednesday's experience to see it through in the second with the help of 2 fine saves from Sasha Ilic. Newcastle, the torture in London goes on. Charlton 2, Newcastle United 0.
Still to come tonight here on Sky Sports 1 at 6:30. It's Spanish football, Racing Santander against Barcelona at 9 o'clock. Goals on Sunday. 2-0 to Charlton here today. We'll get the reaction very shortly, but make a note of what football we do have coming up over the next few weeks. How bad is it? Of course, I just realised we're with the Hammers for the next 2 games, tomorrow night and next Saturday in the FA Cup. Here today, Charlton, 2-0. 2 first half goals from Svensson and Bartlett. And really, in truth, not much threat in the second half from Newcastle United. By way of changing that. Harry Redknapp's thoughts in a moment. Right now, Claire Tomlinson with our man of the match.
Well, the Carling man of the match for his all-round contribution in midfield is Charlton's Scott Parker. Scott, how good does it feel to have responded to that midweek cup disappointment with a good win today?
It's tremendous. You know, we come out, like everyone knows, 2-0 up against Tottenham. It's devastating to get beat 4-2, but today, great team performance, and I thought all the lads were tremendous. You know, done well.
Some confusion surrounding the second goal. How difficult is it to play on when the whistle hasn't gone, when that sort of thing is happening with the flag going up?
Yeah, it's tough. You know, I see the linesman put his flag up. I've stopped, and but the lads have carried on. You know, and it's ended up in a goal. So tremendous.
The second half, there's a little bit more pressure on you from Newcastle. Were there any nerves after being 2-0 up against Spurs that time and then going down 4-2?
Well, to be fair, in the week we've had a lot of video, you know. I think Curbs has put things straight about what we've done wrong. So I think we showed second half how solid we were at the back, and we dug in, you know, and we got the 2-0 result.
You've been enjoying your best ever run in the side. Mark Kinsella's now fit again, and you've got a suspension coming up. Your performance, do you think you've done enough to state your claim?
Who knows? I don't know. You know, I've come in the side, and I feel my performances have been reasonably well. So I'm absolutely over the moon. So long may it continue. We'll see.
This should help you. Man of the match. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
That's the Carling man of the match. Well done, Curbs. It's a bit forward, isn't it?
Alan will clown around here when he gets to his dressing room, but he did play well. I thought he was outstanding today.
And the response that he would have been looking for, Curbs, from Charlton after that midweek.
Yeah, good all-round performance. They worked hard up front. The front two worked the middle of the park. I thought they controlled it in there, and they defended well. It was a good team performance. The keeper, 1 or 2 saves, and when he had to call on him, he did the job.
Newcastle, we knew, I mean, plenty of injuries coming in. None more high profile than Alan Shearer, who, as we heard from Andy, was close today, but not close enough. They've got a problem up there still, haven't they?
Well, they're short of forwards, and they were, you know, Cole Court's injured, and obviously Alan Shearer, the key man's missing for them. And they weren't really a threat today, in all honesty. I think the second half they had 3 shots on. They never had a shot on target at half time. Couple second half, 1 long range effort, but you could never really see them scoring and getting back in the game.
But half an hour in wasn't the best, in truth. Charlton stuck at their task though, and eventually they got their reward, didn't they?
Yeah, I thought there was always more of a threat up front. The front two caused Newcastle problems, and you know, eventually the goal comes. You know, and it comes a great cross.
It's a very neatly worked move too, but it was all Charlton in truth, isn't it? What chances there were?
Yeah,
and that was
that
the
one. Yeah, good header from Bartlett there, off a good cross on the right-hand side.
I mean, they're short as well up front, but they've got 2 to come in.
Them two, they do a good job. They're decent players, and this is the move for the goal where they spread the play out on the left-hand side. It's a great cross when it comes in. Bartlett pulls around the back post, a great header back. Marvellous volley from Svensson. Drops his shoulder, the old left foot, and sticks it in well.
Was the key the ball in?
It was a great ball in. It was all perfect. Great ball in, a great header back. Look at the technique.
Charlton on their way halfway to a 2-0 win, which gives them 40 points.
But every time there was a crossing, they looked like heading it. There's another one comes in there. But Bartlett said it earlier. They didn't cope at all really with the crosses.
We'll have a closer look at this later, but flag did go up as we saw. Paul Durkin said play on. Newcastle partially stopped, but it was a great advantage because Bartlett made it 2-0.
Yeah, I know Scott Parker said he stopped, but if you looked at it carefully after, most of the players carried on, and the linesman got it completely wrong. I mean, it was one of those things from where he was maybe looked like a hand, but it was well away from the player. His flag goes up there and there's nothing wrong.
No, here we go. There.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's nowhere near his hand.
There's a few confused outside that I bumped into who thought that perhaps there was a flag for offside, but that certainly wasn't the case, was it?
No, it wasn't offside. But they defend it badly, Newcastle, when the ball comes in. Shorter bodies in the box.
Well, that's the goals out of the way, so I can ask you, what do we make of Newcastle United at the moment?
Well, I think Bobby would be disappointed with them today, you know, but as I say, you know, you need front players that you can play up to, and they're so important. If you've got good front men, you've always got a chance, and today I felt the lad up front on his own, he worked very, very hard and showed some good touches and some good skill. But they do, obviously, they miss Shearer and they miss Cole Court, you know, especially Shearer, who's a main goal scorer. When he comes back, not only is he an outstanding player, he's also he's a leader of the club in many ways, and he'll be a big influence on them.
Nearly late on from Ameobi, and you wouldn't have argued had he scored. He worked hard.
He worked hard. He worked very hard, the kid. Yeah. But I mean, I still think Kieran Dyer, you know, he ended up playing all over the place, but didn't really get in a position enough to hurt Charlton today.
You never quite know, do you? One or the other of those goes in, and it might have been an
sure, game on, yeah. 5 minutes to go, even 2-1, and it can all change. Attitudes change, and they're on the front foot. They may have got an equaliser, but overall it was a fair result.
No change at the bottom end of the Carling Premiership. We're with Coventry tomorrow night at Upton Park, in the drop zone still after the weekend, and no matter what happens tomorrow, Bradford, Coventry and Manchester City reading up its Middlesbrough, Derby, Everton. The Hammers, they're in 14th, Villa, Southampton and Spurs. Newcastle, Chelsea, Leicester, Charlton up into 7th. 40 points the return on their season so far. Just like Ipswich Town, how well those two have done. Leeds up into 5th this weekend. Sunderland hanging about 3rd or 4th at the moment, digging in to do so. Liverpool up into 3rd. Then it's Arsenal and Manchester United, 13. A mere 13 points the gap after the weekend. We'll hear from the managers when we come back on an afternoon at the Valley, where Charlton have beaten Newcastle by 2-0. Here's Curbs with Claire Tomlinson.
2-0 up against Tottenham. You felt that you pushed on too much in that game. What were your instructions at half-time today?
Well, I think you could see it really. I think it was a psychological thing as well. You know, the midweek game, we never conducted ourselves properly in the second half, and we got hurt. And what I said to him is, you can't go through that again. A little bit negative, but I think we done the job in the first half, and that was enough.
The positive response you were looking for after that disappointment?
Yeah, I think, funny enough, we just had a little bit of a row in there for one or two reasons, but I think it's because they're so delighted that you know, they've managed to bounce straight back, and we've put in a decent performance, and now they've got a couple of weeks rest, and we look forward to the next game.
What was the row about?
Well, we're going to test them this week to see how fit they are, and you know, we do that every couple of months, and they're moaning. So you know, that's life.
What was your view of the second goal? A little bit of controversy over that one.
Well, this is the gospel. I was looking away from it because I think Andy Todd come up to take a quick free kick, which I didn't want him to do, and I told him he couldn't before the game, and he took a quick one, and I just in disgust, and I never carried on looking. I was beginning to write something. Then I you know, heard the thing with the linesman, but I don't really know what happened. I didn't even know who scored it. You know, I asked Keith who scored it, and I still don't know how it's gone in.
7 matches unbeaten now, your best ever run in the top division for 48 years. You're safe now, aren't you? 40 points?
Well, I just said to them, you know, the fans have been singing it, and there's a real big thing about this 40 points, and teams get to 40 points and then sometimes tail off, and you know, I've just said to them in there, you know, we want to get to 50. That's what we're after. Let's get to 50 as quick as possible and keep going. You know, we're doing okay, and you know, I think it's just a question now. 11 games left. There's how many points we can get. But I gave up on points totals 2 years ago, 3 years ago rather, when we got 88 points in the playoffs, 88 points in the first division, and only got in the playoffs. And the year after that, we got 36 points, and Bradford stayed up on that last year. So I've given up on totals.
A break coming up, but on this sort of form, I bet you wish that you had games coming up, don't you?
I think they all wish they was in the FA Cup still. You know, that was a problem to us midweek, and I think, you know, they grew up a little bit in the second half. I think that what happened to us on Wednesday was a big blow. You know, we masked it over a little bit, saying that 3 goals in 5 minutes and you know, whatever. But that was a big blow to us on Wednesday because we thought we'd done enough to have gone through, but obviously we got hurt. They were 2-0 up today, and it was a big second half for us, and I'm really pleased that we managed to hold out and get the result.
Enjoy your rest. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, they haven't just done okay, have they? They've done brilliantly.
Yeah, they've done well. And I think looking at today's game, I think that it proves just the spirit in the club. They keep bouncing back after defeats. They've done, I think that's 5 or 6 times this year where things have gone against them. The following game, they've always come back and won, and that shows great team spirit.
Put behind them the disappointment, we keep talking about it, but they put behind them the disappointment of that cup game to come out and win today. Now they're thinking about it again, because of course next weekend is FA Cup weekend, and you get to the stage where you wonder, well, what if, especially when you're in that sort of form, don't you?
Yeah, but it's just done and done with now. You know, I think they'll be well pleased to have 40 points on the board and look to keep pushing on from there. Maybe Alan will take them away for a few days, take them to Canvey Island or somewhere, you know, and give them a treat for 2 or 3 days.
That'd be lovely. I'll try and get on that trip.
Southend or somewhere.
Yeah. Here's the first goal, which we counted loosely at half-time. I think 17 or 18 passes. We'll put a clock on it this time. This is good football, isn't it? Determined football.
They passed it well.
Might have opened the door there. Dyer was chasing that one down. But you can't ask for much more, can you?
No, they've kept it and passed it. And
worked the opening, and then
nearly played a killer ball through, but they've got the luck has come back to them, then they've kept it again.
Still got it.
Yep. Not too much pressure from Newcastle. If you look at Newcastle, they played and run, and poor challenge from Solano. all the space on the left and a great cross to the far post. Great header. And they're short in the box. Centre half's left his man to come and close the ball, but they're one short in the box when the cross came in. They didn't defend well today.
You talk about the lack of a challenge there from Newcastle, and the performance in general probably explains why Bobby Robson still got the dressing room door shut. And I think there are one or two raised voices down there. It wasn't the best from them today.
No, that's how it gets you when you play badly. I mean, no one likes you. You don't sort of walk out of a dressing room after a poor performance and say, oh, well, forget it, lads, off we go, you know, all to the manga. I'm sure he's in there slating them at the moment, and you know, he obviously feels that they've not done their jobs today.
And here comes the second, especially for Alan Curbishley, if you're watching, Alan. We cleared this up at half-time. Linesman puts his flag up for what he believed to be a handball. The referee confirmed that. In fact, there wasn't handball, but Paul Durkin nevertheless plays a very good advantage, and Charlton benefit. That's what he flagged for there.
But, you know, it's not even anywhere near his arm. It's probably a yard away. I mean, it was amazing. Eventually the ball comes into the box, and there you see a runner from midfield. Now you got, I'm sure Andy will pick this all up tomorrow, but you've got 3 or 4 Newcastle players not interested in defending.
And it wasn't until I think around about the hour mark that Newcastle United finally got themselves a shot on target. That tells its own story too,
it does.
doesn't
At half-time, not one shot on target. It's disappointing, you know. They've got to come and have a go, and I'm sure Bobby set his team out to have a go, and he'd be disappointed with that performance.
They need Mr. Shearer, don't they, and double quick and
yeah, they need goals, and you know, you need front people that you can play to, and the young kid up front needs a bit of experience with him. Get Shearer alongside him, I'm sure he'll do well.
What about the general quality? Manchester United 13 points clear, Arsenal, Liverpool chasing hard, and what about the rest behind them?
Well, I mean, there's lots of teams that have done well this year to be up there on the 40-odd points. There's still a long way to go. I think anyone can finish 5th or 6th this year. It's so close, you know. But the top 3, you know, I think it'll finish up Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool. I think they're probably the best 3 sides. Leeds have, you know, been sidetracked a bit, getting involved in Europe and had a few injuries, but they've got a strong squad. And Chelsea are putting a decent run together, but I don't think they're quite going to make it. I think the top 3 will finish it where they are.
Let's hear from Bobby Robson with Claire Tomlinson.
Bobby, more disappointment in a game in the capital city?
Yeah, we're not very pleased. I'm feeling a bit angry, actually. I mean, when we competed in the second half, we got a result, and I said that to the players. You know, when we put our foot in and worked like they did in the first half, we got a result. From the moment they scored their first goal, because up until then it was an even-Steven game. In fact, we might have looked a little bit better than they did. But from the moment they scored their first goal till the end of the first half, we were actually boys against men. And I've told my players that. Didn't put our foot in, didn't win tackles, no quality on the ball in terms of possession, no fighting for the second ball, poor in defensive situations when the ball was crossed. And we could have gone in 3 or 4-0 down, you know. Now, when we get amongst them at half-time, and I reshaped the side, I mean, we made 3 changes, so the side was quite changed from what it was in the beginning, where you think you start with your best team. It was much easier for us to control the ball and make inroads, because in the second half we actually had a couple of chances. They passed had 1 shot at goal, so we were a different side in the first half. But it's all too late, and I'm trying to keep a cool head and be quite intelligent about the whole situation, but I really am angry about our performance in the first half, because that's when we've lost it.
Did you keep a cool head when you were talking to the players in the dressing room?
No, I mean, we've steamed in, and it's not good enough. You know, I mean, we're a big club, much bigger than Charlton Athletic, with respect in terms of potential. They have 20,000 here today, we have 52,000, all right? Now, we have big names, big reputations on paper today. On the pitch, their players were better than ours, and I don't accept that. Alan Curbishley worked wonders here. He's built a very workmanlike side, like the 2 strikers, not clever players, but they harassed and chased, didn't let our centre-halves settle on the ball, made us kick widely and kick urgently and kick rapidly, give us no time, and in the midfield they were better than we were. They got closer, put their foot in, destroyed us, went past us, went over us. We didn't do that against them in the first half. So in the midfield situations, we lost that battle as well. So in the 3 ingredients of the team up front, where we had nothing up front, basically first half, and accept Shawley's 19, and accept that Dyer is a fantastic player, but he's not a striker, and he's doing the best job he can. But we had no front scene, poor in midfield, and disastrous at the back. How can we win a football team?
What was your view of the second goal? A bit of controversy over the linesman's flag.
Yeah, I mean, the players, to be fair to my players in a sense, and I don't want to be over-fair to them, because I don't want them to have any excuses, you know. There was an infringement. The referee did put it, sorry, the linesman did put his flag up. The players saw that, stopped, and we stopped. The whole team stopped. Now, the referee has the right to play on. That's his right. Now, he chose that. You play to the whistle. We didn't play to the whistle. So I'm not criticising the referee at all. He was quite right to say, play on. There is an infringement, I'm letting the thing go. We didn't play the whistle, so we've got caught with a second goal. Had it been kept to 1-0, then we might have obviously got something out of this game here at Charlton. But when it was 2-0 down, you know, without the leadership qualities of Shearer and Court, like a recognised centre forward, a recognised front scene, which Shearer and Court would give us, then we're always going to struggle. The ball was always coming back off us.
It's La Manga coming up for you, a little break with the players.
I'll tell you, I don't want to go. I've told them that. I don't want to go to La Manga. I will have no joy in La Manga. You know, even though the sun is there and we're going to, you know, relax a little bit and play a little bit of golf, but we'll train, not half, we will train now, that is for sure. But I don't particularly want to go to La Manga. I feel sorry for our supporters who've travelled from every breadth of the country, paid good money, paid for their ticket, and seen a dismal, pathetic first-half performance, which has cost us the result. Now, I'm with those supporters. I'm with my team as well. I'm with the players, but I feel sorry for our supporters, and I'm apologising to them for our performance in the first half. They've come a long way, and I don't think we've given them value for money, and I'm upset about it.
Bobby, thanks for your honesty.
Thank you.
I've got a feeling that's going to be a fairly quiet plane on the way out there to Spain. Not much in midfield, hopeless up front, but what does he say, disastrous at the back. Anything else on Newcastle United?
No, he's very honest, wasn't he, Bobby?
Brilliant, isn't it?
He's come on and he's told it as it was. He said we were poor and it's cost us, you know, and he could have come and fannied around and give all kind of excuses.
At his age, he should be sitting in the sunshine, shouldn't he?
Yeah,
but he really cares still.
No, he does. He's passionate about the game. That's why he's still going.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Enjoyed your company.
Thank you.
I'd like to wish you good luck tomorrow night.
I know you wouldn't mean it, so don't bother.
Monday Night Football tomorrow night from Sky Sports. And his thoughts on a very controversial weekend in many respects. In the first hour, the live football is West Ham against Coventry. It all starts tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on Sky Sports 1. It's interactive as well, of course. Not a good day for Newcastle United. You've heard Bobby Robson say that. Terrific day for Charlton. Well done, Alan Curbishley. See you next time.